Okay, we are live in the pre-show means. Okay. Good. Alerts are not on currently, because I know I'll forget to turn them off, and I lowered the cost of everything, so we're not turning it back on before the pre-show ends, okay? Waste your channel points. Waste them all. See if I care.
Is this really a waste, though?
It is if I just ignore it. I don't have to stay hydrated. I could simply not perceive it. I can simply die from dehydration. Okay.
It's occurred to me that your icon isn't there.
Yeah, it's occurred to me as well, but that's because I turned it off in the reactive thing. I'm going to turn it back on. Do not worry. This is the voice of God speaking to those of you watching the stream and wondering who's talking right now. This is God himself, here to tell you all the answers. Here to tell you all the answers of Umineko. Okay, you can call me Erica, what is it, Furudo? Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I'm here to solve all the mysteries.
Solve all the riddles.
Okay,
Riddle me this, Erica.
Oh my god. Oh my god, you're a witch now? Oh, fuck.
What?
Ari's a witch now. Fully succumbed to took until episode 5, and now they're a witch.
I've always been on the side of the witches.
Fucking Arimia Delta over here, okay? Not having it.
Wait a minute.
Oh, also, just a warning to those of you who are watching these streams on Twitch, okay? Twitch has now been doing this annoying thing where it tries to play 3 minutes of ads every hour on my end. You're just gonna have to deal with it, because I'm not stopping the stream every fucking hour of discussion for 3 whole minutes, okay?
Dude,
so
we're gonna be here for like 10 hours then.
Listen, we're just gonna be ignoring that shit, okay? So, if you're somebody who's listening and there was a particularly juicy thing that we were talking about at the time that you're very upset that you could not hear, you can go to the YouTube section where the VOD will be later. Well, technically, the VOD
will also go to Kick, but you know we don't talk about that.
Well, technically speaking, the VOD will also live on Twitch. It's just more annoying to rewind things on Twitch. You can't even rewind things on Twitch natively. You have to go and open a VOD, and then you can't do it with the stream. You can on YouTube though. YouTube's an option. But I understand people enjoy watching it on Twitch first and then watching on YouTube later as the VOD thing or whatever. But if you're a VOD watcher on YouTube, then you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, you're already safe from all this bullshit, alright? Also, I told the thing to show my image, and then it didn't do it.
Oh,
now. There it is.
You.
I'm here.
There you are. Damn, an Ari in a shower stream, that would have been weird.
Okay.
We had so many things to talk about.
Oh my god. We are going to be missing... This is pretty much the crew for tonight, because Turrendo's not going to be here. Nyanbake's not going to be here. Mitz is never here. And Justin's probably not going to be here until after we're done with Umineko. So, this is pretty much the crew for tonight.
Yep. Very interesting cast we have here.
Wow. I can't wait for this incoming ad break that's warning me is about to happen on Twitch in 3 minutes, which is 3 minutes before we start, so that's actually fine.
Okay. Like, should I give enough shit to snooze it for you? But no.
No, snoozing this will make things worse because when we go to start, there'll be an ad
then
break,
the timing's gonna be extra weird, yeah.
That's fine. People are gonna be dealing with at least one ad break later on if you're watching on Twitch, okay? Unless you're a subscriber to Wolfborg with 2 G's on Twitch, then you don't see any fucking ads, alright? You don't deal with that shit over there because you're subscribed. I'm just saying.
Or, you know, you could just go to YouTube.
Either that or get Twitch Turbo. You know, that stops you from seeing ads on anybody's channel. And we still get paid for them. Even more so, I think, than if you were a regular viewer. I'm just saying. These are pro tips.
Again.
These are pro tips. Oh yeah, I gotta hit post on all the things that I have ready about this. Because I have all the things pre-typed. And I just have to hit enter.
That's what made it take so long. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, that's all I'm spending my time doing. I'm definitely not watching Kageki review, Shoujo Kageki review Starlight. I'm definitely not doing that in another server. That wasn't what was happening there.
No, don't worry, okay? Look, I understand. You're right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's a meme from the show. You don't even realize it, but you know, it's you understand. Yeah.
God damn it.
Wakarimasu. And it's just a giraffe staring at you. That's what happens. You wouldn't get it. You know.
Yeah, giraffes are in Canada. You're right. No, I want to understand.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But you know what is from Canada.
I swear to fucking God. What are you about to do to me?
They found the model for what was the character name? Akud?
Awkward.
They found him after 23 years and they're Canadian. So
Ooh.
don't worry about it. Tsukihime.
Ah.
Tsukihime.
I'll be next on our to read list.
Yeah.
Damn it, dude.
Tsukihime. I think I killed that. Okay.
So are we almost ready to start talking about moon tourism and why you should invest in it?
I'm sorry, what?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, did you not read? I mean, I'm ready for moon tourism.
Oh, okay. Wait,
I'm ready. It's one of the many brilliant Kraus business enterprises there, okay?
Of course. But Kraus was ahead of the time, alright? He was on this stuff back in...
I always knew.
What the fuck does this story take place again?
1986.
Okay.
Time to subject them to answers. Beatrice cackle.mp3. Thank you for that. Hey, wait, Beatrice isn't cackling at all in this episode so far, though. You're not allowed to use
But
that button.
I am.
You can't cackle.
Okay. You need like
to be fair,
Where's
to be fair, this cackle is used for all of the witches, so...
Okay, well...
Oh, so that's not specifically Beatrice.
Liberal.
It's also Lambda Delta and Burn Castle? Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe more people. We don't know.
We couldn't even change like the pitch of it slightly for the other witches?
No.
Okay.
This is the iconic witch laughter.
You know, it happens.
It takes me years to get a PhD in witch laughter, and you here insulting this.
Yep,
It says lazy.
Listen, I understand. Wakarimasu, okay?
Takes 1,000 years to become a witch. You don't spit on that.
And most of that just getting the laugh correct.
All right, I think we're ready to go. Let's get started here. Hold on, let me reposition this, and then I'll hit the thing. Wait, what do you mean ad break? Why are you telling me ad break ends in 3 minutes? You're just wrong. What do you mean ad break ends in 3?
Is it like right on the dot of the hour?
No, so it told me you have like 3 minutes before the ads start when we were like 6 minutes before we started. And then the ads started. Okay, well, we got two extra minutes in which I don't want to get rid of the pre-show button for no direct reason. You know, I'm just saying. There's nobody fucking watching.
The funny part is my ad's only 40 seconds long, so it's just like 2 minute, 20-second gap.
Here's what you have to do. Now that you're looking at the ad, you have to click it and you have to purchase whatever they're asking you to purchase so that I get money from it. Okay, that's how that works. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
It's Canadian things.
That's fine. I'm pretty sure I still get money for it. Although I'm not sure if I can actually tell you to click on those things, so I take that back. So
I could. No.
You know the conversion from Canadian to USD? It's like negative $2.
I had a couple times with Jotaku because I was running Google AdSense stuff on there, where a friend of mine thought that they were helping me. She would just go on there and just randomly click a bunch of the ads and be like, I'm helping you make the money. And Google just kept getting mad at that, thinking that I was manipulating their platform by clicking on the ads a shit ton myself, even though they were like from Canada. And I'm like, maybe don't do that because Google doesn't like that. And it thinks it's weird if people are actually clicking the ads too much, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, they're doing their job. This isn't right.
Yeah.
This is insane.
Well, they're not technically doing the job because the job is supposed to be to sell you on something, not to just get you to this site.
Okay, look. Okay, we're at step 1 of 2. Okay, all right, we're getting somewhere.
Just give me all your money, and then we don't have to deal with Twitch ads. Okay, give me all your money, and then we'll move off Twitch. We'll build our own streaming site. Okay, it'll all be fine. Just give me all of your money. This is a holdup. Okay, I have a gun.
And then we'll go to moon tourism.
Yep. That's what I'm gonna build. I'm gonna start it up. Okay, and like I said, once we actually get started, we're not dealing with
And
the
then
ad
we'll start
break
investing in chessboards.
Like I said, once we get started, I'm not dealing with waiting for the ad break bullshit later on. So if you're watching on Twitch and ads happen later, it's hard to say. You gotta wait through them or go on to YouTube. Because I'm not dealing with that shit. Alright. Alright, it says, allegedly, the ad break has ended and so the community is back. So now we can actually officially begin. Allegedly. Alright, let me take this off.
Of course.
Okay. Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of the Anime Book Club here on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick all at the same time. Just look up your local Wolfborg at wolfborg.com and you get links to all my shit. Go to there, click on the things, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We are back after a week break that we had with the Answers arc. Now we're here to discuss the beginning of the second half. Now the shit's coming out. Answers are being thrown, hints are being given. We're pretty much getting towards all the secrets. But before we get into all that, let's introduce our guests here today. Starting in alphabetical order, I guess I'm starting now because Ari has changed her name to Witcherimia, so I am first. Hello, I am Battlerborg. I'm not used to being first. I am Battlerborg, aka Wolfborg, aka Chaplain, aka the best host of all Anime Book Club discussions of all time. Yeah, that's I said it. I said it. I can't deny it anymore. And go read Chaos and Noah. We're almost done with all the routes, and it's peak. It's amazing. There's a lot of shit going on. Okay, there's crazy people living in shipping containers. There's patents. The government, the church, everything. All the women in that game are psychopaths, and they're all around you. And might kill you, you think, but they're probably not the problem. You are, but that's fine. Everything's cool. It's a good game. Go check out Chaos and Noah. That's my recommendation. And next up we have Shadow Man. Introduce yourself.
I am Shadow before. The thing I recommend is not being late.
And nobody was late, so that's perfectly fine. Why would you ever bring that up? Okay, amazing. Next up we have Arimia. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Arimia. I like shonen shit and mysteries. Read Umineko. No, how about go watch the Umineko stage plays?
Oh shit.
I need to go do that.
Wait, hold on, there's more than one?
They just yeah, you got to do a different one for every episode. You see how long these things are? Bro,
Yeah.
you want to cram a 150-hour-long visual novel into one stage play?
Hey, if
you
you're not a
insane?
fucking- you just-
150-hour-long stage
Listen,
play.
I don't think Ryukishi would be against locking up everybody in like a theater for like a month, and then every day like a little chapter plays. I don't think he's against that idea.
I
think
think
it
I
can
wouldn't
happen.
be
here.
against that. Hey, you feed us, give us like
No,
places
no, that's
to
not
sleep.
happening.
Let's go.
No, that's not happening either. You think they're taking no, you're trapped there, okay? They're not feeding you. You're getting the Battler experience, okay?
This stage play really makes you feel like Battler. You really puts
Yeah.
you in the shoes.
Listen, it's immersive theater, okay? I'll have you know. Anyways, anything else you wanna shout out or maybe before we get started? Aren't amazing. I was waiting
Really
for you
Just
to say
good.
accept that witches are real.
why can't you guys just say no if there's nothing else going on?
I was
I
trying
hate
to
you all.
think of something.
I hate you all. I hate you all. Well, guess what? You missed your chance. Witch. Okay. Out here. Okay. It's time to begin the discussion. This is all the guests we have for this week. For those of you just tuning in and didn't listen to the pre-show memes, now Megan is not able to make it, and Turner was not able to make it. They will hopefully be with us next week. So we'll see about that. So we are ready to begin discussion. We've started the Answers arc officially. We're in episode 5. We've read the first 2 volumes of the Japanese release. So it's the first English omnibus release with a new artist taking up the helm, which was very noticeable of an artist change for me.
Yes.
Akitaka is the new artist here. I will say right away, in some cases I enjoyed their art style. In other cases, I don't know what was going on with some of the characters or whatever. But I mean, for the most part, I thought it was fine. But like, it very much did stand out as like probably the most distinct of the art styles from the other episodes, in my opinion. Just as like a first thing that I definitely kept noticing, especially with things like how Battler and like Beatrice looked or whatever, I was like, oh, okay, this is Battler, right? Yeah, like, so anyways, where do we get started here? Episode 5, the end of the Golden Witch is the title, right? This is the end of the Golden Witch. Finally,
Allegedly.
Beatrice is canceled. We found the receipts. She's done. Specifically, she is not really doing too well, it seems. It seems like she has been, I don't know if you want to say mentally broken or something like that, but something about her ain't working ever since the last episode. And
she has lost the will to continue on.
She will not
That's what's
game
happened.
anymore. She refuses to game or do anything, actually. She won't say anything, and she's just kind of there.
He's not laughing anymore.
Not laughing. That's
As
a
we
very
would put it in
important thing.
gamer terms, she has tried to log out unsuccessfully.
Wow. Just like in Sword Art Online. So that's what it is. She's trapped in Sword Art Online, and they got to get her out of
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kirito can do it.
These
My
are big
Kirito
fan of
Battler.
video games, if you didn't know.
So, Beatrice is just kind of there. I think she's like, they described her as a living doll right now with her current situation.
Yes.
And Battler's like, well, I don't want to bother playing this if like she's literally not even doing anything. I can't really continue this. But Lambda Delta and Birdcastle are like, no, we're keeping the game going. I don't give a shit about how she's feeling right now.
Yeah.
So Lambda Delta's like, I'll just take over her moves. And Battler's like, well, I'm not playing against you. So Berncastle's like, okay, I guess I'll take over your moves too. So they're effectively playing most of this episode, I guess.
Yeah, against each other, specifically.
Which by the way,
Berncastle and Lambda Delta.
I just, like, I understand Berncastle and Lambda Delta's, like, existence is trying to keep this game perpetually going for their own amusement. But I feel like you're defeating the purpose if you're just having yourselves play the game against each other and not, like, and just ignoring the people that you're trying to torture with this endless cycle or whatever, but...
Well, no, the thing is that they're trying to torture each other as well.
Well, I understand that, but I felt like the core point of the metaphorical game going on was to torture each other through torturing them because they were each on the opposing sides of them. But now they're just playing against each other.
Yes, but also it is they're kind of like this game is the two of them against each other, but it's really not. It's the two of them against Beto. But it's not obviously Beto's not fighting back. So it's really just the two of them bullying Beto for their own amusement. That's the entire game that we're seeing here.
Sure. I just kept being like, so like there's like just a big time skip that like quickly happens in like the early chapter where like Battler says, all right, do whatever the fuck you two want, and he leaves the game board to like hang out with Comatose Beatrice and Virgilia in the garden or whatever. And then he's like realizing like, you know what, maybe I should like try to actively do something to break her out of the state. And then he goes back to the game board and they're just like, oh yeah, so we're pretty much done here with this episode. And now we're just rewinding to show him everything that happened. Because
the speedrun's insane.
It's especially the speedrun's insane because we've introduced a new character, and I say new character with air quotes because technically speaking it's Berncastle but reskinned and in the real world.
Don't worry about it.
It's so I will say, whenever I looked at the cover for this episode prior to reading it, I had always thought to myself, that can't be Berncastle because she looks way different. And I've seen memes before on Twitter about this girl, Erica, being a detective in Umineko or like some kind of detective present in the story. So I'm like, oh, okay, so this must just be an entirely new character who just also has have blue hair. No, it's literally a version of Berncastle because she inserted herself into the story. Specifically, it was explained that she has inserted herself into the story because the number of pawns on the board has now been recognized as one less than it was prior, because now we understand that Kinzo was never alive from the start. So instead of the 18 pieces being on the board, now there's 17. So she's inserted herself as the detective character Erika Furude, right? Furude, right? Is that the no, Furudo with a D-O. So Erika Furudo has been inserted into the story, very awkwardly inserted, in fact. They're like,
that's what happens when you cram your OC into the existing plot.
So she was introduced because the whole family is having their like annual meetup. The storm's happening, and then Nazi gets or was it Nazi? Somebody gets a call. I think it might have been Genji or whatever. They get a call saying, "Hey, so somebody fell off a ship that was having a cruise nearby, and they've washed up onto our island. We found them. They're fine, okay, but they're just kind of here now for like the next couple days until the storm clears out." And not only did she happen to wash up and on the island, okay, she also is a like a hardcore detective, like logic-minded individual who has stumbled onto this island at the exact perfect moment for a detective to be needed. I was kind of thinking to myself when I was reading it, I was like, you know, a story like this would also be pretty cool if we didn't have all this stuff prior. If it was like a standalone thing where some detective accidentally stumbles onto some island and then it ends up being all of this shit and they had no idea they were stumbling into all this shit. I mean, in this case, it's a little different because we know she has been forced into that scenario because she knows that this is a place where she has to solve a mystery or whatever, because this is like meta Bergcastle inserting herself into it or whatever. But
treat Erica and Bernkastel as two different people, though.
Right, yes. I understand that. They're supposed to be treated as two different peoples. That's why we didn't literally say Bernkastel is there or whatever. Like, so I understand, because she definitely acts very different. It seems so far, at least from what we know about Bernkastel. It seems like acts like a completely like different individual person. They're like a quirky little young detective girl who has a weird obsession with chopsticks specifically. And well, I mean, we'll get into it later on, but calls herself an intellectual rapist or whatever. It was the line that I got in my version. I don't know how they translate for you guys.
Yeah,
but
that's the translation. Yeah.
She'll like solve these mysteries, not like, well, partially because she wants to be able to deduce them, but also because fuck everybody who doubts my skills. I'm going to solve them whether or not it makes you happy, and then you will all be miserable. And I just want to fuck with you guys, pretty much. So we have an interesting type of detective going on here.
What is a good motivation to do things?
It's not like your typical detective that you're rooting for to like solve the case. It's like a detective who's there to give you the answers and then laugh at you for not figuring it out earlier, which I'm pretty sure was the goal. So Erica's already an interesting character in my mind, but before we get into that, we do have to rewind a bit, because before we even get to Erica there, okay, we rewind to, I think, as much as 2 years prior to the events, when Kraus and Natsuhi are at the island, and Kinzo has passed away. This is where they
we found out in episode 4 at the end in red text that Kinzo has been dead before the events of all of this.
Yep.
So now with episode 5, we finally see that actually happen. Well, we don't see it happen, but we're told that he died in his sleep, and that Kraus and Natsuhi were immediately made aware of it, which, you know, of course they would be. They're living in the mansion.
Yep.
And they come up with the scheme, because all of the children need money real badly, to just, he's alive, guys! Don't worry!
Specifically, it was, wait a minute, he's dead. Don't you fucking leave this room. We have to talk right now. Close the fucking door. All of you sit here real quick. Okay, we have to have a discussion. Let me fucking think. Don't tell Jessica shit. Let me think.
Don't you leave this room.
And then Kraus and Nazi just talk, and Nazi, what's wrong?
This is one of my favorite parts of the Natsuhi, because we've seen her for the previous 4 episodes, because we knew that the first 4 episodes we saw the motif of like each of the head women get their own kind of episode, even if it's not like them centric. It is, you know, parts of each episode had them as the forefront. And episode 1 was Natsuhi's, and we haven't really seen much of her since then. Like, you know, her own kind of plot lines and stuff. So for the most time, we've just seen her being typical trad wife, Natsuhi. For Shadow here, because I know you don't know what that means. Basically think like a traditional wife is what it stands for.
Ari, you've lectured me on this before.
No, I haven't.
Yes, you have.
Okay, well, for the people listening at home, okay? Don't worry.
For the people listening at home, a traditional wife, you know, a mother should be somebody who creates offspring for her husband. She should be somebody who just attends to the home, does the cooking, the cleaning, all of that. Natsuhi's a typical trad wife. And we finally see her at the beginning of this one really, like, actually go into Kraus of how stupid he is. And we're also, in turn, seeing just how stupid he is.
I will say, because I've said before, I can't wait for us to actually dive into Kraus's backstory, because I'm like, he's probably got some serious shit going on. And it's like, oh god, he's really fucked with the money to the point where he's got to pretend that his father's been dead for 2 years. He fucked with the money for, like, dumb fuck business adventures. Really, like, moon tourism and shit. There's, like, a whole comedic bit of them revealing the dumb scams he got involved with.
And that is, like, word for word what it is, too. Like, it's literally moon tourism. Was the
the well-known moon tourism.
Like, I knew something was wrong ever since that man came here claiming to be a high-ranking NASA official, and you just went with him? And he's like, you don't understand. Women can't see the future. And she's like, yeah, I can't see the future, but I can see the reality.
Yeah, yeah, I can see the fucking present, all right? And right now we're fucked because of you. And he's like, listen, it's real bad. I kind of signed over the Ushiromiya name to this shit, so if they find out father died, all our shit goes to them. I didn't even know you could do that. That is not his shit. What do you mean? I mean, is it...
It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, so he's fucked up, and it's not for like a really like shady, like he's doing something like nefarious for like his business on the shady under. It's literally for dumb ventures that he's been scammed on, not just now, but several times prior, where where Natsuhi's just like, why do you keep like letting this other guy keep tricking you? He's like, no, he was getting tricked too. We both fell for it. He just, it just happened. Listen, this plan was gonna work. It was the future, but the planning department, okay, things fell apart with that. But it's whatever. It's fine. It's not fine. Shit is fucked.
This man would be top, like, first in line to fall for NFT rug pulls, okay?
He's literally like gambling addiction, but with business investments. Like he's thinking to himself like, okay, Kinzo's dead. It's okay. We can still fix this. I have this other venture that surely will make us enough money to put us okay. All we have to do is pretend he's dead for a year.
I'm going to double down on this other venture.
Yeah, sure. And it's like, okay, so we're just gonna make this worse.
Don't gamble, kids, okay? I've learned my lesson playing Pokemon Rebel. Don't gamble.
Like,
it made me immediately think, oh, so this is why in the last episodes we had Beatrice try to tell people to solve the epitaph. He really wants to find the fucking gold because he doesn't know what the fuck he's gonna do. Don't know if that's still the case because of the other things that happen, but we do know that he is super fucked, and he specifically. It's not that he's mostly trying to hide the fact that Dad's dead for his sake. He's trying to hide the fact that Dad's dead for the family's sake as well. Because if the world finds out that he's dead, it's not just his family that's going to argue about the inheritance. It's now the people that he signed the Ushiromiya name to that's going to be arguing for their shit. So it's not like he's just hiding it just for himself. He's also hiding it because otherwise all of their shit is going to get taken by some random people that he loaned money to. Who he says is not loan sharks, but it's pretty much the business version of a loan shark is what it sounded like. So
yeah, it's some shady people.
Yeah. So shit's fucked. Shit's fucked.
There's also crap, what was I gonna say? Oh, in the visual novel they go a little bit more in depth of like, yeah, Kraus is an idiot, but we can kind of see why, because he grew up, as the eldest son of a man who created a miracle revival of their family and brought them to huge prosperity. So he's like always trying to, achieve that.
Yeah,
or
trying
at least
to get his
close
miracle.
To it. Yeah. But at the same time, he's also just super trusting. So he's just like always getting swindled by these guys because he is just a trusting person, surprisingly.
He's very naive.
Very naive.
Yeah, I will say though, despite how naive he is, and I don't know if how much of this is influenced by Natsuhi being like the main perspective we're seeing this episode through, but I liked Kraus once we're like seeing more of the side of him. Like he seems very caring, especially towards Natsuhi. We saw like the flashbacks of him on like a newlywed trip with them to like some East Asian place.
To Taiwan, yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about like a specific type of like, was it like a nut or something, where he's like, you should try it, but like don't actually like swallow it or like let any of like it like go into your stomach because it'll ruin your stomach or whatever, but just enjoy the flavor, then spit it out or whatever. He's like really trying to force it onto her, like trying to convince her to take it, and she's like, I don't know why he's getting mad at me for saying I don't want to try this thing. And then it's like later on she finds out like it's supposed to be a symbol of like good luck in matrimony or whatever, so like he's like blushing or whatever, he's like seems like a very like caring person in many cases. And again, like I said, it's not just the fact that he's hiding the money, whatever, for himself. It's also for the family too, because the whole shit's fucked if they find out, the loan people find out. So it's, in my mind, and again, a lot of this might just be influenced by how this episode is presented to us, primarily from Natsui's perspective, which has also been showing us Beatrice, Ronove, and Gap, and Kinzo just talking to her, which is also bullshit.
Which they admit is bullshit.
Yeah. It might be some kind of case where Kraus is not actually that, like, nice. Because right now, the perspective this episode gives off is that Kraus is just a well-meaning man who just keeps falling for scams and is trying to, like, not screw over their whole situation as a result of the scams that he's fallen for, is how it's presented. In reality, it's probably, like, a little darker or whatever with how he's handling things, but I don't exactly know. But, I like this Kraus that we're seeing this episode is what I'm getting. I like this Kraus overall. You know, he doesn't seem like this big, overbearing, like evil menace of the heir to the family, which it kind of felt like to me in the last episodes he was, just because we didn't know much about him at the time. And now we're getting to know more about him, and we're seeing like, you know, the softer side because it's from Natsu's perspective too. So I don't know. I like him. I like Kraus. I want to find out more about the Kraus punch. Okay, I want more Kraus lore, is what I'm saying. Okay, I want more of Kraus, but he's probably gonna die pretty soon, for all I know. But you know, I don't remember.
I would say they're all probably gonna die soon, but
no, everybody will be fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, when the seagulls cry, and then we'll be left alive.
But an important thing to note about this episode, it starts with it already telling us that the case of this episode has been solved. And it appears as if Erika is accusing Natsuhi of being the killer. Or that's how it appears. Yes. It might not actually be the case that they're accusing Natsuhi, but it looks like it was Natsuhi that was being accused. That's the case. Yeah, okay. Because I couldn't remember. I remember she walked up as they were like holding Natsuhi and saying, you are the killer or whatever, but I didn't remember if they specifically said Natsuhi. But yes. So it looked like Natsuhi probably fucked everything up in this episode. We're probably already told that answer. But there's going to be like some gaps on like some of these things, because I imagine we're not going to be told every single answer right here in this episode. We are being told hints, well, primarily like the way to solve the epitaph. We're not given like the full answer, because there's parts towards the end that are skipped over, but we're basically told the epitaph is, if I'm understanding this right, and I think this was pretty much like what they were pretty much the adults were thinking of before in like episode 3, I think, where like they were trying to dissect the epitaph as if it was like a word puzzle thing. And specifically, they had figured out in this episode, they just plainly explained it, that the whole like kill this thing, gouge this thing, it refers to like letters in like a string of characters. And that they determine through like logic, math, and the other hints in the riddle, the epitaph, of like it being 11 characters long, whatever the word is. It may have to do with the name of a location specifically. And then once you find, and specifically they looked into a book and then they found the answer, or it seemed all to click together in that. And then I was able to find the quote key from that and then use that as the thing to gouge the different parts of this phrase to give them the answer towards where to find the gold specifically, which seems to just be somewhere on the island, because they were able to just easily walk around and find it eventually. And then all the adults came in and walked in to see them finding it. Yep.
The battler says, "Huh? You know, the piece means a little too clever, to be honest."
What was that say? Yeah.
Shadow's just talking about when the meta battler is watching over, and he's like, "Yeah, I think this piece is way too smart."
This is one thing that I was gonna say. Burncastle taking over kind of feels like bullshit for Battler's side because in my mind, she just also knows the answer to all of this.
She figured out the answer on her. She figured out the answer and then moved Peace Battler to solve it with Erica.
Mm.
Look, all I'm saying though is the "you're incompetent" really stuck with him.
He's just like, why am I so much smarter than I was before? This is bullshit. I wasn't that good.
I've been lied to.
And when we say Erica, Burncastle is not really. They're being affected by two separate people. Am I explaining this? Erica and Burncastle are two different people.
Yes, I understand.
They're the same person, but they're two different people.
I understand.
But, the solving the epitaph, they skip over things.
Yeah.
We're not shown what the full solving required them to do.
I'm assuming that's the case because it's trying to leave like more cases for the reader to figure it out on their own, which I don't know if necessary. Because you were hinting at we might not be able to do it as English readers. Does that mean it might refer to like some kind of Japanese thing, perhaps?
As us English and American readers, we will be hard pressed to solve
What's the difference?
Because one, you have to speak. We speak English, but two, we also live in North America.
Okay.
So, even Canadian, whatever. We don't live in Japan.
Okay.
Says you. I live there. I live on Rokujima. Okay, I'm solving the mysteries right now. I know all the answers.
No wonder they have a second amendment.
So what's the epitaph?
I don't need to answer you. I found the gold, so I don't need to tell you. I
got
it right here. It's real. Okay, don't believe me? Well, it's too bad. I got the gold. What are you gonna do about it? So yes, yeah. So we are given massive hints towards the ways that you should be dealing with the epitaph, which is pretty much sort of hinted at, but not the exact specifics of it during episode 3. And now it's more so clarifying. This is what you're supposed to do with a word. So now it would be the case of you as the reader figure out an 11 character thing that you would use as the key, I guess, and then that could lead you towards where it should be. And it's something specifically you find in the book. Erica picks up a book specifically says I'm looking for a map. So it may, like they were hinting at before, refer to a specific location name. I think they were saying perhaps it refers to a place like Kyoto or Osaka or something, because a part of the epitaph I believe also refers to his hometown, Kinzo's hometown, I think, or somebody's hometown.
Yes.
So his
beloved hometown or whatever.
So the epitaph was the big thing that when Battler did come back to the scene, and later on they were just okay, so we're just gonna go over the answer for that now. He's like, wait, what? We're just doing that right now? And I was thinking to myself that too. I was like, man, he leaves the board for 5 minutes and they're already just all right, so here's the answer for this. That was easy to do.
Well, Burncastle also brute forced it. She did not technically really solve it, because we see her bringing up the miracle shards that she uses to jump around and see different parts.
Yep.
So she basically just brute forced the answer.
A little bit cheating over here and there,
Little bits.
Listen, a little bullshit is what I would say. Okay, we're doing some witchcraft bullshittery to be all right, the answer is this now. And I'm all right, that's fine. Listen, I'm fine with it overall. In terms of you have to eventually explain the ending to the readers, or at least get them closer to be able to try and figure it out themselves after a certain point. And we are, in fact, in the answers arc where that seems to be the goal of that. So I'm fine with that. But it just felt like it was pretty fast that we were just introducing a character that seems like a new character who's very intelligent to this mystery scene. Literally seems like they're inserted as because before we were doing hints about this, well, not really hints, but Umineko is a story that seems to be would you use the word deconstructing, or like heavily like looking
Yes.
at different tropes of detective mystery novels and stories like of that nature, and then comparing it towards like, you know, the fight towards where does the line blur between that and like fantasy stuff? How do we present both a detective story that it cannot be explained through some of these answers, but still follow all the rules of a detective story in some kind of way? Like, how do we do these guys? And it seems like Erica is like, well, I mean, they literally say Erica is the detective exception, I believe the term was for this, where this is a new character we have introduced who, in the rules of detective novels, will just assume to be not the culprit, because if they are the culprit, then it's kind of fucking bullshit to the reader. We talk specifically about Knox's rules for detective mystery novel stories, which are real guidelines that do exist in the real world. There is one, and I noted this in one of the chats. One of the rules they point out is not exactly how it is in real life, and that's specifically one of the rules they say in Umineko is his third rule being there are no secret passages or hidden doors. They cannot be allowable in the story. In the real world, that rule is actually no more than one. So you can have like one of those, but you can't have like more than that. I'm assuming for this case, they adjusted that slightly to just make it easier towards Ryukishi's point with this series in terms of what he's trying to do with breaking down detective mystery novels. It makes it easier if you just don't allow any of them, probably. There's quite a few of the rules that we talk about in some of them, one of which I think they said, like, no, don't introduce like weird poisons or scientific shit that takes too long to explain, because there's like, if you have to come up with some weird contraption that some average person was not going to think of ever, then they were not going to be able to solve this easy. Because the point of the rules is supposed to be making a detective mystery story that is both interesting with its mystery, keeps the reader hooked in, and is also solvable to a certain point by them. That is not impossible for them to solve it before the detective in the story actually solves it. And so we are at the point now where the detective has been inserted into the story because we have been given all the hints to be able to solve some of these things ourselves. And so we should be able to start piecing them together by now, if not earlier. And so that's why now Erica's here to just start giving out answers for some of these things. But
not to most of it.
Right. But Erica's not... Again, I think I said this before. Erica's not like the hero detective that you're like.
She is kind of not really a deconstruction of detectives herself, but rather a kind of like a inverse detective. I don't have the right word for it, but she's the exact opposite of what you would expect from most detectives. Like, we have.
I was gonna say it felt like as if a like I don't know if I want to say psychopath or whatever, but like a villain has become a detective almost.
Yeah. Because like we have detectives that are cold and calculating. We have ones that are just quiet. We have ones that are like jovial and stuff. There's a ton of different detectives, but detectives are basically always the heroes in the story, unless we're talking about some other genre that is not a murder mystery. But in murder mysteries, they are typically the heroes of the story, or at least the lens that we see the story through. So they have a either neutral or positive kind of outlook on how they try to approach the case. Erica is just complete evil kind of outset, complete negative outset of it, She is jovial and happy for all the wrong reasons. She is happy because she knows someone's gonna die.
It made me wonder, because I've only seen one episode of Moriarty the Patriot, but I was gonna ask you, how close is she to Moriarty the Patriot?
So, Moriarty is more of the Moriarty and Moriarty and the Patriots. Moriarty the Patriot. Yep. He is more of a kind of not a lawful good, but more like a. I guess he kind of is a lawful good, lawful evilish. he
Which
has
is
his
it?
own kind of moral set of this is how justice should be. So he is very, like, he does go by his own moral code. And a lot of times that is breaking the law, but it is not breaking his own moral code. And interestingly enough, the Sherlock in that series is also very much the exact same way, where he ends up being basically the same of like, yeah, even if it's breaking the law, at least it's going towards my own code of justice, even if that means killing people. Even if that means not solving crimes, even if that means whatever. Whereas here, she's just, people are gonna die, and that's great. Not
Base.
people are going to die because it is my moral code that this person should die. I don't know if that answered your question.
Also, she likes chopsticks, so that's
She likes chopsticks. She's also, I think she's supposed to be like 14, 15-ish.
Yeah, I was gonna say they all call her a kid, and she's presented as childish. So I was assuming that she was supposed to be pretty young.
At the dining scene, they make a big point of like how she acts, how she is young, but she has the mental knowledge to not only act prim and proper, but she knows the social cues of when to not, at least. Because like when she goes on about how great chopsticks are, she's showing how knowledgeable she is. But then Goda says, well, actually, our next course is soup. And instead of like reacting like a 14-year-old probably would, she just does a little coy little, oh, hee hee.
You know what's occurred to me?
Silly
Wait, are you not
me.
supposed to have soup? Oh, actually, never mind.
No, go on, Shadow. What
Let
are
him
you gonna
cook,
say
let
about
him cook.
chopsticks and soup, huh?
Let him cook.
Wait, do you guys not use chopsticks when you have soup?
No.
I mean, do you ever?
Yes.
You have
How?
You use chopsticks when you have soup.
Well, I mean,
We're not talking about
Not
ramen.
not very well. I'm assuming. Not very
Shadow,
well.
We're not talking about ramen. We're
Yeah,
talking about soup.
There's a difference between soup and ramen or like something that has something within the like.
Okay.
Look, Shadow, even when you eat ramen, they usually give you like a ladle to drink the
For the
actual
broth, yeah.
broth with.
Oh.
So they're
Okay.
using spoons with soup. Don't worry.
Yeah, if there's something within the broth, you can like eat it with the chopsticks. But like if it's just like the broth itself, you're not eating that. It's like where you got a bowl of water in front of you. Good luck with your chopsticks. So, but I think one of the joke panels too, the like extra meme panels, just showed like her life jacket on the other side just has a shit ton of chopsticks. Which looked amazing, but obviously that wasn't real. But yeah, so she just kind of washes up on the island. They explain to was it Genji calls up Natsuki, tells everybody that we have a guest that's gonna have to stay here for like a couple days with us. They get her dressed up, clean her up, and she's just like really, really welcomed by this family. I think there's even a remark between the witches on the game board about like, damn, Erica's really fucking popular. I mean, everybody loves Erica, I guess. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, you imagine just randomly washing up onto some island and turns out it's an island held by rich people and they're having their annual family dinner and you are now just like the center of it. And I'm like, man, that would be a lot of weird coincidences to all happen at once. And if we did not have the statement about, the detective exclusion, and then where we said in red that Erica will like have no bearing on this, and also had no bearing on the prior games, which I was glad that we got that out of the way too. We didn't have to worry about Erica's presence and any things like that. Erica's just there, and if she is there in the future games, they're there of their own like separate entity. They're not really like a part of a lot of those things going on, it seems, right now with the family dynamics. They're not
touching this. They are not touching Bito's games, because that is one thing to remember, is that episodes 1 through 4 are the games that Bito created.
Right.
And this is now Lambda Delta's game, where she is the game master. That's what we call the person who is running the game. So Bito is no longer the game master, but also this is not a, but in turn, because she's no longer the game master, this is not a game that she created. This is the story that Lambda Delta created from the pieces that Beto left.
Yeah.
So that will be one thing to think about going forward, is the new components that Lambda Delta has put in that Beto did not have in her own episodes.
Yeah. And the important thing I wanted to highlight is they, you know, at first they're like presented like they're sort of refined, more so than the rich people expected, to the point where they're like, Jessica, you got a rival here because there's another young lady here who's like about, well, a little younger than her, I think, but like seems more refined than you. You got to do something to make yourself look good or whatever. And I think that gets to her a little bit, but not as much. But later on, Jessica blows up at Erica because Erica notices the epitaph, realizes, oh, what's this giant portrait of a person? Oh, Beatrice? You guys are talking about Golden Witch in this place, and there's a fucking riddle here for me to solve? Oh, let's go. So immediately she's like thinking about it and talking about it in another room, and all the people are hanging around her in the guest room. They're like, oh my God, you're solving this thing or whatever. And she's just like, well, it's one thing for me to be like looking into this stuff and figuring it out with you guys, but also the existence of it means that Ginzo probably doesn't trust Kraus to be the heir, because otherwise this thing probably wouldn't fucking exist. And Jessica's like, why are you shit talking my dad? And then there's like a very angry like moment, and then like I think like later on they all like leave, and then Erica is like, I gotta keep solving this thing, and I gotta solve it like tonight, because fuck Jessica. I want her to suffer for daring to like doubt my deductions.
Yeah, specifically Jessica.
Yeah, specifically
and only
Jessica. So it was a whole big fuck you in that scenario for like daring to doubt her deductions, which I thought was like an interesting way to present your detective character in the story. Because I mean, I like House MD, if you guys have ever seen that show, okay? House exists as a character inspired by Sherlock Holmes, and each medical case is treated like its own kind of mystery, in a similar kind of vein. And his whole thing is like, he'll solve these cases to save the lives, but he's also a massive fucking asshole and will do things just to spite other people, and will even endanger other people's lives just to be like, I was right and you were wrong. And I was getting that energy with Erica in that moment, where we're seeing like super sinister faces from Erica being like, yeah, I'm an intellectual rapist and I'm here to just solve the mystery to make you guys like lose your shit. Oh, I just found the gold for you guys. I'll let you take the W on this, battler, because you did like the last step of finding it or whatever, the last couple bits or whatever of finding it. I'll let you take the W on it. I'm just here to watch all the chaos that happens afterwards, now that we've announced to everybody on this fucking island that we have found the gold, and now they're just going to like argue amongst themselves about what happens now, because immediately Rudolph and Ava are just like, oh, Battler, you know, best member of the family here. We got to talk real quick. You're not going to bed anytime soon, okay, Mr. New heir to the family, potentially. Oh, Kraus and Nazi, you want to say that they don't think that that's how that works? Oh, we got a ring here signifying that he is now the new heir? Well, Battler, we got to keep talking here for a bit. So it's the whole thing where Battler's just like, I don't really care about what happens with this gold. I found it. I'd like to split it with the family and just give Kraus the heir, like, because I don't want to deal with that shit. But like now the adults are like, oh, hold on, the adults are talking now, Battler. Okay, it's very good of you to find the gold, but we got to talk real quick. And it's a whole thing where it's like all the adults are like swarming like fucking parasites to like the gold that Battler has found, which I'm surprised at how nobody has seemed to like. I mean, maybe it's just because they're all family or whatever, but I feel like if you're just like, oh, all the gold is here, we've all found it or whatever, I feel like that's immediately cause for being like, oh, we're all trapped on the island for like a day or so together, and now we have the gold, and people are arguing for who should get it, and we're not even talking about like splitting up evenly among us pretty much. people are probably gonna fucking die. Would be like my thought about this, because it's not just a little bit of money. It's a lot of bit of money. It's a lot of fucking gold. Okay, it's not
Fuck your
nothing.
money.
It's not nothing, and we're trapped on this island, and nobody's gonna know if any of us die for a while. For a while,
wrong.
and then we can like come up with like stories about it and shit like that. Which is one of those things where it's like we've seen in the past episodes how the epitaph is used. Almost. I mean, I don't know if you'd say used. It seems like some of the killings seem to resemble what the epitaph literally says, like gouge the head, gouge the legs, or whatever. And I think at some point in this episode, we talk about how the epitaph could serve certain purposes. It could, it could serve as the way for them to mimic the like murder. Like they'll follow the directions of those to like instill fear into somebody specifically. Or to like mask something else that's going on, or something else to that effect, where like we can use the epitaph for different things, but the epitaph can also just be like a riddle for like a word game, which tells you the location itself. But there was another point that I was going to, but in this case with, I don't even remember what I was talking about now. I'm getting old. Okay. Listen, all this shit is happening. We're getting the answers, and we found the gold. That's what I was getting. We found the gold, and now they're all talking about it. I think they even said they have an audio recording or audio system that they're going to use to record them talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I don't want you saying I didn't say this and you said this or whatever, so we're just going to record it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's going to become important later on in some kind of way. We're going to like find the leaked Rokenjima murder audio tapes later on in Anjay's future, and then all the witch hunters out there are going to be like, whoa, shit, we got to post this on Reddit, we got to dissect this one.
Audiobooks.
Yeah. It's literally going to be part of the true crime documentary in the future. The one that you see on Netflix, it's going to be there. Okay.
Speaking of Anjay, actually, like one of the first panels, you can see Anjay, and like I'm like, I swear to fucking God, if they rope Anjay into this again, I'm gonna lose it.
Anjay's not back yet.
No,
not yet. I will say too, when I was coming up with the schedule for this, I was surprised to see we each episode before I think most of them had like 2 omnibuses per week we would read from them, but some of them were like bigger than others before. For the Answers arc, every episode is like 3 omnibuses long. And
for a bit.
And in some cases, it's like 3 volumes in like one for like a couple of them, I think. But I mean, that I assume is because they're much shorter in length from that writer, potentially. I mean, that's what I think. It could be wrong. We'll see when we get there. But yeah, we got a lot to go through, so we're probably going to see Anjay again at some point. I also wondered, with Natsuhi seemingly as the focus again in this episode, mirroring the fact that Natsuhi was also the sort of the focus in the first episode, I was wondering if we were going to get a repeat of that with the other episodes. Like episode 2 is going to be focused on or episode 6 is going to be focused on Rosa. Episode 7 is going to be focused on Ava. Was it Ava or Rosa first? I think it was Rosa first, then Ava, I think. And then episode 8 being focused on Anjay again, which I guess would make sense if Anjay is like a focus towards the very, very end, because then we're probably seeing like things be resolved outside of the, in the future too, as well. If that is the case, that I feel like that would be an interesting thing to do. But I definitely noticed that whole correlation with Natsuhi as a different kind of focus here, compared to episode 1, where she was also sort of a focus. But she was kind of more of a focus here in episode 1 after the killing started, I think, when she was like one of the only adults left alive and ready to deal with shit. In this case, the murders have not really started yet. Well, they technically started towards the end, but we don't really know. I think we just see like beds or whatever full of people, but we don't necessarily know who's dead yet. Although I'm trying to remember, because towards the beginning when they're like, you're the killer, I don't remember if they like showed who died at that point too. I don't remember.
They do, but it's like extreme close up of faces, and this artist style is kind of eh.
Damn.
There's just not a lot of detail to their drawings. Like I like the general structure for how they draw some of the characters. Like all of the witches look great in their style, but there needs to be more either detail or just confidence in the details.
Wow. I already said get good.
Yeah.
Akitaka.
Right.
Okay.
I mean,
Fucked
there
up.
are better artists than I'll be, but like it's
damn.
it's still just like
Damn. Yeah, no. I definitely felt a drastic difference in terms of like this kind of art style compared to like the other ones. Not necessarily in a bad way in some cases, but I think I might have been. It's hard for me to describe how I feel with some of the art things in comparison, because I'm on the boat of like, I look at art and I'm like, this is pretty good, and we're doing good with the expression of these things, but I don't know like the right words to like express my comparison between like the other art styles. I just noticed there's a difference, and in some ways I don't like it, and in some ways I do, but it's hard for me to describe exactly why. I was trying to think, because I remembered seeing like a couple shots of Maria in this art style, and I was like, I don't know if I like that. And then in the case when they do like the little cutesy like comedic style that they keep jumping into, I'm like, okay, they seem to be doing good at that. In the more serious versions of some of these things, I was just like, some of these look really good, others I'm like iffy on or whatever. I was like definitely feeling like a general style that goes on with this artist in terms of like them jumping back and forth between like the serious moments and like the comedic moments, and that like they wanted to have a lot of fun with the comedic moments at times. Like, we're ready to learn the intense truth about Krause's background and it's moon tourism. Okay, you know,
it's an integral part of the story, chap.
It's very important. And then like all the Lambda Delta Burn Castle just fucking around scenes.
A little bit
like,
tomfoolery.
We're like, we'll see like some of them where they look really intense and terrifying, and others where they're just like goofing around, being like, well, what the fuck does he want? Or like they're just dancing with like Burn Castle's blank expression and Lambda Delta just having fun or whatever, like shit like that. But we're supposed to be terrified of them, you know, don't worry.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, it's okay though. Okay, Santa, all right. You know, what was it? Lambda Delta still believed in Santa, and I was like, why doesn't he give me presents or whatever? Was that what it was? What was the joke with that? I don't remember. Santa's real. Don't worry. Okay, don't be a Santa denier. Be a witch denier, but don't be a Santa denier. That's just how that works.
Is Santa a witch? Like, how we go about this?
Santa's not a witch. Okay, Santa is a saint. I'll have you know. All right. Okay. Anyways,
you know what? Seems legit.
So what else did we have going on here?
Well, we also had the introduction of a new plot line. A mysterious person from 19 years ago.
Yes. Natsuhi's dark past, question mark? Where it's, allegedly, if I'm understanding it correctly, Natsuhi supposedly also had a son who's like, I think 1 year older than Jessica, but something has happened and he is supposedly dead, but also calling her on the phone, which that's probably not really happening, but I don't really know. But it seemed, so I was thinking to myself, because that seemed like a whole thing where she's getting calls from this person. This person is claiming to be her son, who she had thought was dead from years ago. And now she's being terrified by that and getting these calls. But even though they're laying in the calls or whatever, she seems like terrified of what's going on. I like just listening to him and just saying, I'll do whatever you want. Just leave us alone or whatever. Because it sounds like he's threatening to go to the island on the day of the grand meeting of everybody and getting his revenge on Natsuhi and all of them, probably.
Yeah.
But I was thinking myself,
we see that Lambda Delta, she's the game master, so she was the one behind the phone calls.
Yeah.
But that doesn't negate
that
the
somebody
idea.
else is, yeah.
Yeah, so we see like her setting it up and doing the phone calls herself, but like that's still, there is still a precedence for it, because the pieces are only she should have said it in this part, when Battler was saying, I think this piece means too smart. Birkinsell retorts back that, you know, a piece, or somewhere in this episode, they mention like a piece can only do what a piece could possibly do. So, like, you know, Battler could possibly solve the epitaph, so it is not out of character for him to do it when Castle is controlling him. And similarly, you know, Natsuhi reacting this way, well, there must be a precedence for it that she could act this way because of her past. That's a long-winded way of me saying that even though Lambda Delta is obviously behind the phone call that we see, it doesn't negate that it could have happened.
Right. So immediately what I was thinking of those scenes is because there's a question, because we're already shown early on that Natsuhi believes she is talking with Beatrice and Kinzo and all of them, but we are then told in red that that is not actually the case. She is obviously alone, or not talking to them. She's talking to herself. We're even told that in red is like a crushing like moment towards Battler about that, because he's just like, okay, I know that, but we don't have to say it in red. This is kind of you're fucking with me about that, but because then there's a question, then it's a question of, is the phone call really happening or not? And in my mind, it probably is really happening, but it's, I mean, if supposedly she did have a son and the son did supposedly die, it's probably not actually the son. It's probably somebody who knows about the son and is trying to fuck with her in some kind of way or blackmail her. And we just don't actually see the real conversation that happened. Because in the call towards the end, because he calls again, and they make a whole show about proving that they really are their son, or not even really. It's like proving something about the call. And they're just like, what's your favorite season? And she's like, autumn. And she's like, oh, I knew that. Well, they painted it as, oh, that's also my season. She tries to be like a liar, but then the call is like, look underneath that clock over there. And then she does, and it's just a card that says autumn. And she's like, oh, fuck, how did this get here? How did it, like, because she's like, this good. And I'm just immediately like, okay, I understand Natsuhi's gonna fall for this. I'm Battler mode, okay? There's probably like several cards in that room with different seasons written on them. Like, it's not that hard to set that up. There's like 4 cards in the room. You just have one say spring, autumn, winter, and you just tell her which one to pick up. That's not hard to set up. But it was like,
look under the trapdoor, Nazi. It says summer.
Exactly. It's like, okay, Nazi is gonna fall for that because Nazi, whatever's really going on in the conversation, which my theory is that whatever the conversation is going on is probably not actually what we're hearing, but it's probably something to the effect of making her lose her fucking mind, because she's probably terrified of whatever they're saying in some kind of way. And it's probably something like, I'm going to reveal that you killed your son or whatever on this day or whatever, or something happened and your son's dead and you never told anybody about it or whatever. And she's terrified of that secret getting out for whatever reason. And so that's why she was so terrified and ready to like just listen to the stranger on the phone or whatever they said, I'm assuming. But, so
now we will see more of it later, obviously. Episode's just getting started.
Yeah.
But one thing to remember is that back in episode 3-ish, the previous episodes, basically, there was the whole deal of Ava was supposed to leave the Ushiromiya family because she is a woman, and when she gets married, you're supposed to take on the man's name, so that would make her leave the Ushiromiya name.
Yep.
But because Natsuhi did not have a child, because, you know, Kraus is next in line, so his child, he should have a successor. But because she did not, Ava was able to get back into the register.
Through George, right?
Through her marriage, because Hideyoshi agreed to take on the Ushiromiya name. And then Ava had George, and then Natsuhi had Jessica.
I see.
But that only happened because Natsuhi did not have a child. Or so we thought.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we're shown at one point a like no dialogue scene. It seemed like it. Maybe it was, or I can't remember. It seemed like it might have been at the secret mansion or whatever, with a whole bunch of like faces and people that I don't think we've seen before, from like, probably the 19 years ago. I think it literally said a year. I just can't remember it, like 1960 something or whatever. And it looked like it was a woman with the child in her hands. And then it looked like Gap opened a portal underneath her, and then you just see her and the child falling. And then we see like bits of that scene again in the phone call with Natsuhi and her supposed son who died or whatever. So I don't know if that was alluding to her son being accidentally killed through some kind of thing or something. I don't know what that was specifically about. It might have some kind of connection towards, I don't know, Beatrice in the secret mansion or whatever. Because I'm trying to think in my head what the timeline was supposedly for when Rosa saw Beatrice die, if that story is to be believed. I was trying to remember when that's, because it looked like that happened when Rosa was a kid. But I don't remember.
That story was pretty much already all said and read.
Right.
So we can safely assume that the Rosa meet and greet happened.
Dead as a doornail. The meet and greets, the meet and death. It happens.
I don't know why I went with VTuber terms, but it's very funny to me. VTuber Vito.
The Beatrice Zatsudan. Okay. It happens over at the secret mansion, and then death. It's fine. Her
unarchived karaoke was just wild.
I know, it really was. It really was.
I do have one question about the phone call.
What's your question about the phone call?
Okay, the first phone call,
yes.
the very first one, did it happen on October 4th? Because I can't quite tell.
No,
okay.
That was supposed to happen. Earlier. Because he was just like, "Oh, the family meeting's coming up soon, isn't it? Maybe I'll take a trip over there or something like that." But also,
did I see like near like one of the panels, and when it's clearly raining, right, on that one, and then someone says it finally started raining, like later on. So I was like, wait a minute.
A lot of the beginning of this episode is set
years ago.
2 years or like a year before.
Yeah, because Kinzo's been dead for like 2 years. They got away with pretending he was dead during the first annual meeting, barely, by like pretending like Kinzo overheard them talk about the inheritance and was infuriated and never wanted to see them that week or whatever. Now that's not going to work as much this year, because now they were like, the adults have realized like, hey, that was pretty fucking weird that happened. I don't know if he's alive anymore. Like they all pretty much figured before the meeting even happened. They were like, yeah, that was a little fucking weird, wasn't it? We didn't kind of see him that year, and we were told that he barely had a week, like a couple months to live or whatever. So he's probably supposedly still kicking 2 years later. I don't know if I agree with that. And then they all met up and they were like, yeah, so he's probably not alive. So we're going to squeeze Kraus for everything he's got. All right. As a family, we'll do that. Right, Ava and Rosa? We can all do this as a family. Let's fuck over Kraus. And, again, we see a lot of the, basically the kind of arguments that we had already seen in previous episodes where like, well, we don't see him again here. It's more so we see Natsuhi hearing about the conversation happen afterwards as Natsuhi's trying to come up with like her own plans for how to do it. Because it seemed like Natsuhi was like the one to come up with the plan for pretending Kinzo was dead, essentially.
Yeah, she was.
And to essentially, the plan is later on to make it a missing person. That way, you can still declare him as dead, even though you don't necessarily have a body. That way they can mess with like the time of death in terms of making sure that they don't get screwed by the loan shark people or whatever. But also to like fuck around with the family trying to find out about that early on or whatever. So, I mean, they're just like, we'll just make it so that the study's locked up the whole time. Okay. He doesn't want to see them because all they're talking about is the inheritance. All right. Shit gets fucked with that when they find the gold and they're like, well, we got to talk to him now. We can't not talk to him about this. And then wouldn't you know it, the ring for the inheritance just kind of appears without needing to go speak with Kinzo. That's a little convenient that happened. Because I was immediately like, okay, so they're like, oh, there wasn't an envelope there before when Cannon and Shannon came in, and then Cannon went to open the door and suddenly found the envelope. Okay, so Cannon had the envelope. Krause told him, here's the envelope, just give it to them eventually, and somebody will make noise at the door at some point, and then you just give them the envelope and it has the ring, and then we're all good. Or somebody actually left it in front of the door or whatever when they made the noise. But the point is, it felt like one of those things where it's like, okay, we can't explain to them why they can't see father, so let's just give them this envelope with the ring and just be done with that for that end. Although, Krause and Nazi were arguing about that afterwards with them, but, that might have just been for show. Because, the main thing was, they're like, all right, father's dead, and they found the gold, and I don't know what to do about this shit, so let's just, give the ring, probably, is what I was thinking. I was thinking, okay, so they have to do something because they can't show them Kinzo because Kinzo's not alive anymore. So what are they going to do? Probably just hand over the ring in some weird, suspicious way. And then all the other adults just try to squeeze some shit out of convincing Battler to give them the gold or some shit. I don't know. So Battler's just okay, I guess I have the ring. I don't really want to do this though. You guys could figure out whatever, but I'm not really interested. Battler in this episode was there to kind of piece together the epitaph with Erica, but then afterwards he's just I don't even know why I'm here. What the fuck is the point of all this? This is all just kind of a fucking annoying. They're just arguing about money, and I don't really care. I don't want to be the head of the family. Krause can fucking have it. I don't care. Rudolph's like, no, Battler, my best son. My best son in the
my
whole
only son,
world.
actually.
My best son. And then Rudolph was also just I have to talk to you about something very important tomorrow. What do you say? It was about your mother or the family or something like that.
About our family.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably was getting, I was thinking maybe it might have to deal with the fact that Asumu was not his mother or whatever.
Yeah.
But as soon as I heard that line, I'm like, okay, so Rudolph's dead, right? Rudolph's one of the first dead. So we're not getting that fucking answer this episode, okay? I was just thinking to myself, why did you just come up to him and say, hey, I think I'm gonna die, like you did in that one episode? Because you pretty much just did by saying that. This is a huge death flag.
And like you just mentioned, he has tried to bring this up before.
Yeah,
he did that in episode 1, but Rudolph just won't come out with it.
Yeah.
That Battler's sin is that he ignored him 6 years ago. He's never had a chance to repeat what he's going to say.
I was trying to think of what Battler's sin might have been, and some of them I don't really know if it makes sense offhand, but I think to myself okay, doesn't know who his real mother is. Asumu died 6 years ago. He had a sin 6 years ago. Did he kill Asumu? What happened there? I don't know. We're just connecting the years there. It's what was your sin from 6 years ago? I don't remember. Did you kill Asumu and then repress it? I don't fucking know. Why? I don't.
Pull a Chainsaw Man here.
Is Beatrice Asumu or some shit? I don't fucking know. But yeah, no, there's a whole bunch of things I was trying to think of okay, so Battler can't remember what his sin was, either by, for narrative reasons, is not admitting to it, or just cannot remember it, it's a repressed memory, meaning some traumatic fucking shit probably happened, accidentally killing Asumu, or purposely killing Asumu, I don't know. But for whatever reason, something that happened 6 years ago caused Battler and Rudolph caused Battler to not be a part of the family for 6 whole years, and now he's come back, so now it's a question of okay...
Do we know that those are related, though?
We don't. Well, not necessarily, probably, but how it's been presented before was what was it? He had disagreements with Rudolph specifically, I think, because of how quickly he remarried after Asumu died. Is how I think it was explained to us before.
But that could be something separate than just the sin itself.
Have we been told how Asumu died yet?
No.
That was something I was thinking about. I was we
have been told what his sin is, though.
Wow.
All right. Well, I haven't paid attention, I guess.
Have we though? Have we been told what his sin is?
So I'm gonna go back over some of the things I sent in chat earlier, but one main thing is that this is Beto sending message to Battler. That's what he realizes in this episode after Virgilia kind of needles him on a bit, is that the first 4 episodes were Beto trying to show him something. She was trying to get something through to him, specifically him.
Yeah.
Now,
that seems to be the whole
Lambda
point of
Delta-
these episodes, like constantly. It's just like
Yes.
they're trying to tell Battler or trying to get him to realize something.
And Lambda Delta is now the game master, which means that it is no longer Beto trying to tell him something. But, as Lambda Delta said already in this episode, now that she's the game master, she can provide even more hints. So this episode is basically extra hints. You are able to solve it by episode 4. There are some hints that we'll see in episode 5 that I think kind of like really round it out to make it actually solvable. But like it is solvable by
Technically
episode
solvable.
4. But like you kind of need some of them in episode 5. But Lambda Delta is going to give us even more hints on top of what Beto gave us. But that specifically means that it might not be hints that she wanted to give us.
Right.
But it will be hints regardless.
Yeah.
But first 4 episodes, that's what Beto's trying to tell Battler. So we have seen Battler's sin. We have been told it, at least.
Okay, to be clear, when you keep saying we've been told it's not like your sin was this. You did this on this date.
No.
Okay, this is like
that was not it.
we're hinted at like this was a thing that happened.
It was, yes, it was hinted at least.
Okay.
That does not necessarily mean it was shown to us or that it was explicitly like written out that this is your sin, Battler Shiromiya. But it has been said. The first game also was an especially risky start for Beto. Then we have the ranking system. That is a very important part to the Ushiramiyas, but as we've seen that there's been a lot of turbulence within the ranking system. We have Ava almost getting ejected from the register and then coming back. Then we have Battler leaving the register and coming back. And now we have Natsuhi's whole thing of, well, she was supposed to have an heir, but now it kind of looks like she did, but then she didn't because the heir supposedly died. So it's a lot of changes to the ranking system. So maybe that will be involved even more. And then one thing that we haven't really seen much of lately, at least discussion-wise, is what is furniture? What is it?
I got a couch. Is that enough?
Is that furniture? What is furniture? And what isn't? Or should I say, who is furniture and who isn't?
It's kind of fucking
Because they refer to certain people as furniture and certain people as not as furniture.
Yeah, but sometimes the furniture could just be like, I'm not furniture at like random times. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, but also who is never referred to as furniture?
Me, I'm never referred to as furniture. I'm a real
and also,
thing.
What is magic? You know, what really is
it's not
magic?
Real. It's not real.
What's
It's just bullshit.
gobbledygook?
Who can use magic and who can't? I mean, really, what is magic?
I mean, nobody can
without
use
love?
magic. It's not
Huh?
real.
Huh?
I mean, it's bullshit with or without love. It's just not real. Have you ever considered that? Have you ever considered that it's just not real? Have you considered that?
Well.
Wow. I can't believe the witch is advocating for magic. Never saw that coming.
Beto's a witch. Just acknowledge that Beto's a witch and that none of this could have been done by
Bro,
humans.
Beto ain't doing shit this episode, okay? We ain't talking about Beto, all right? We're talking about Lambda Delta, Burn Castle, all right? Beatrice gave up, all right? Beatrice ain't doing shit, all right? I don't know what to tell you about that. Beatrice is not allowed to leave the game. Beatrice and Battler are like, Battler's just like, okay, so if she basically gave up in the last game, why isn't the game done?
I thought we're still here.
Why can't I leave and go home?
Why can't I just go? And they're just like, oh, you see the giant chain around like Beatrice's ankle? Yeah, that was Lambda Delta. You guys aren't leaving.
You're stuck there.
I don't make the rules here. You guys are just kind of stuck playing the game forever. Good luck. Maybe recognize your sin, you fucking idiot. maybe then you can leave. Probably not, but it would be a good step towards realizing you can't escape, you know? So anyways, everybody's dead.
Whoops.
That kind of happens. Battler ate and drank in this episode. Well, I know he drank. I don't remember if he ate. But I noticed him drinking. I almost like a screenshot.
Not in shambles currently.
Yeah, I was gonna send that or whatever. But it was only like drinking. I was like, okay, let's. We need eating. Okay, that's the important factor here. I thought like Maria at some point hit Battler on the head with like a Halloween like candy thing, and I thought he was immediately going to eat that Halloween candy, and I was going to be like ready to screenshot that, but no, that didn't happen. Battler had that awkward moment, which again was brought up, I think in like the bonus comic or whatever, with Maria. What was it? They were talking about how Anjay is sick. And then I think he literally says, Maria's like, no, you shouldn't say that about a lady, about how she has diarrhea all the time or whatever. You shouldn't say that about her. And I think he's just like, no, yes, you're right, Maria. You know, young ladies don't poop. They just marshmallows come out. Okay, that's all that happens there. And for Anjay, the marshmallows are coming out as like syrup or whatever. And rightly, Jessica and George like comically like knock him away because that's fucking gross. Don't talk like that. What the fuck is wrong with you, Battler? But that's just another typical like Battlerism. Okay, remember the line before one of the episodes where he was like, I'm here to save you, Maria, but he's just like, you're too young to be saying lines like that or something. Wait until you're a little older and then come say that to me. It's like, okay, Battler, can we calm down here? I know you're the son of Rudolph, but we gotta chill out here. Well, so allegedly,
the shit was the crucial clue, Chep. Anjay Battler were Canadian the whole time.
Oh boy, that's the real sin, being Canadian. We don't do that. We don't do that around here. Yeah, Natsuhi, not only, you know, she's working hard to try to come up with the plan to pretend that Kinzo's not there. Or the plan to make it look like Kinzo is there so that they can keep it up the ruse long enough for Kraus to save things. Kraus is not saving things on his end. Okay, so shit's falling apart, and I think Kraus even like offered, he was like, listen, I'll have I could send you and Jessica off on a boat or whatever off the island at some point, give you the divorce papers. There's a secret account with your name on it with money. I'm just thinking, how do we have a secret account with money in it when we're this fucked with the money? What did you do? Wait, what's going on? But he's like, yeah, we have a secret account with money and your name on it. You can go live your life. You could be good. But Nazi's like, no, I want to stay with you. Because it's a very touching like moment because Nazi is very like loyal towards like, very, very much there for Kraus, loves Kraus, is very loyal to the family as much as she can be, it seems, despite Eva being a bitch towards her all the time, whenever she can, because she used to be the help, I guess, or something like that. Was that what it was? It was something like she was a commoner or some shit, right? I don't remember she was specifically one of the, like...
That, and also, house, like, but she couldn't, because she couldn't provide for her family and stuff, and, like, she left her... a bunch of things, but also internalized misogyny.
Yeah.
Ava kind of projecting onto her the traumas that she went through as well.
Yeah. Which Kraus didn't help with. Because he was just kind of...
Because Kraus was also the one who inflicted a lot of those onto Ava.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. The cycle.
Yes, exactly. The cycle.
Yeah. Like it seemed like Kraus, from what we saw in the Ava episode, it seemed like Kraus had tried a bit to like have Father target him at times instead of Ava, but I mean, it doesn't really do much if you're also just targeting Ava yourself.
Yeah, because all of the children are very complicated people, because it's like, on one hand, he was trying to stick up for her as the older brother, but at the same time, like, you're raised by this raging misogynist, so you're not going to turn out that much better in most cases, and he didn't.
Yeah.
And we can see that he probably grew out of some of it, but...
Yeah. I was gonna say, I had a brain blast at some point when I was reading. where the brain blast was when they looked at the room full of all the people on the island, and they said in red, everybody in this room is the head count. This is a representative of the head count of the people on the island, or something to that effect. They're like, this is everybody, pretty much. And I said to myself, oh, 18. I get it. It's like a chessboard. But then I was wrong. I looked back and I was like, wait a minute. There's not 18 pieces for each side. It's 16. And I was like, well, there's 2 extra people. Because I was wondering, like, why we took the extra step of, like, adding another person now that Kinzo's gone. And I was like, oh, it must be because they want to keep up the number of chessboard pieces. I thought I had, like, had the brain blast, or I was like, oh, I understand why there's specifically 18 people involved with this now. And then I was like, no, it's 16. It's 16 on each side of the chessboard, so that's not even right. Unless we have some newfangled 9x9 chessboard that we're playing on. That, you know... That's got. I mean, it could also be a case which. I mean, again, I'm thinking too much about it.
Chess, okay, there's another chessboard. You even know about it.
I was wondering if this is more like shogi or whatever, but I couldn't remember how many pieces are on a shogi board. It was gonna be like, this isn't actually chess. This is shogi all along. But like, because I mean,
nah, but we're playing checkers actually.
Well, shogi is very similar to chess. Except it's got some pieces that move differently, and the other big change that makes it drastically different is every piece you take in shogi, you can put back on the board somewhere else, and it's under your control now, where you can't do that in chess. You can move a piece all the way to the end to promote it to something else, which I was wondering if that was a thing we were going to metaphorically do at some point here, which I guess we kind of, I mean, I guess in a way do when it comes to like, when it comes to like the title of Ava, or not Ava, Beatrice being passed down to like Ava, and things like that. I guess that's one kind of way, but like also solving the epitaph is a way to promote from like a pawn to like the king, I guess. So I don't fucking know, but I feel like when I was like thinking about that myself, I was like, I'm thinking too much into this. I don't even know if Rikushi knows how chess works. Okay, we're just doing this for the fucking aesthetics here.
Wow.
All right, listen, for as much as references to the chessboard and all that we make, we're not really talking that much about the complexities of how chess works, or like, you know, I thought we were going to have an en passant mentioned here. You know, didn't have that.
I don't think we mentioned chess yet in these 2 volumes.
You gotta well, we saw chess boards at some point in this episode. Visually,
we need the Code Geass chess.
Exactly. Exactly. We need, like, I put my king right in front of your king. It's like, that's not allowed. but metaphorically, I must move my piece backwards so as not to reveal that I am actually 0 or some dumb shit. Like, what is going? That's another big case of, okay, we love chess for the aesthetics of war and intelligence, but we don't need to actually learn how this shit works, I guess. Like, bro, it's not, chess isn't that hard to figure out how it works. It's hard to, like, win, but it's not that hard to fucking know the rules of and just talk about. What the fuck?
What's funnier, if they knew how chess worked and they went with it, or if they didn't know how chess works and thought that would be totally okay to just wing it?
Listen,
they're very funny both ways.
I'm just waiting for, like, the end for Battler to be like, you know, after all this, all the mysteries are solved, I still don't know how to play chess. I don't even know how this works. I've been messing with the pieces, but the reason why it's been taking so long for us to finish this game is I don't even know how to move a pawn forward. I don't know. Can it move ahead forward? Can it move diagonal? I don't even know. Maybe that's why.
This entire time he thinks that chess is checkers.
Yeah.
No, that's the sin. That's the sin right there.
The red truth is just moving the red checker pieces, and it's king me. So, all right. What else did we have to cover here, chess memes aside? Because there were no chess memes here. We don't talk about chess in this house, okay? Chess is not a thing that we actually do here, all right?
You say that, Chef. I recall several occasions of you playing chess at some point.
Not Jessica. Natsuhi, when she's hearing rain, was saying something about hearing something else with the rain. Was that supposed to be the phone ringing, or was that supposed to be like something else?
She losing her marbles again?
I had thought she was hearing like somebody using power tools somewhere to like cut up bodies or some shit, and she just didn't realize it. because she was like, I hear something going on with the rain. She's like, what is that noise? And I was thinking to
It
myself,
was
like,
either the phone ringing or Genji's footsteps. I forget which.
but like she was like being very paranoid in that scene about something. Being like, I hear rain, but there's something else with it. And then like you saw Genji's like, there's a phone call for you, and she's like, something strange. Like it made it look like something nervous is going on. Like she's having like a nervous breakdown over something that she's hearing, being like, this is not supposed to be here. And I was getting confused at what she was like supposed to be hearing, because we're reading this as a manga, not a visual novel. We're not a sound novel where we could actually hear what's happening or whatever.
Horror novel.
So I was like, is she just like hearing a murder happen in some other part of the mansion like right now, and like other people just can't notice it because of the rain, and she's noticing it or some shit? I was like, is that what's going on? And then she's
There's
like,
actually 16 people, Battler, you fool.
and then she's like, oh, the phone's ringing. Okay, all right. And then it's the whole thing of like, what's your favorite season? It's autumn. Oh, I knew it. What? How did you know? Look under the clock. Oh, fuck. Okay, I'll do anything you want. Okay, the card said autumn. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, please. And then she's like losing her mind. She's terrified or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, so this is just somebody who's there who knows the secret and is just fucking with her, probably. For probably very specific reasons, probably related to the murder, if not the gold. And we're just,
It's usually about money.
you know, but it has to be somebody who knew about the death of the son. And I don't, well, if it even happened, I don't even know. We're told by Natsuki that they supposedly, or it seems in these scenes, we're being told that Natsuki had a son. Are these scenes even happening? Did Natsuki actually even have a son before? I don't remember it happening in Red. Maybe it did. I don't remember. I don't think it was confirmed. But what we're shown is that Natsuki's losing their mind with this mysterious figure who they believe in these scenes to be her son. And then it's a whole thing where Lambda Delta's like, you can do anything if you change your voice on the fly. I liked how in the version of the manga I read, to signify the voice change, they just kept fucking with the font type every time Lambda Delta wanted to showcase like different voices you could do. I liked how they were doing that in the official translation. That was a very nice like little touch that they had going on. Okay, what else did we have going on here?
No, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's Battler.
It's all Battler. Okay, Battler is actually Beatrice. Always has been.
No.
He just never
No,
realized.
that
His
was one of
sin
the
was
phones.
not realizing that he was Beatrice the whole time. He just never did. He just never did. I understand everything now. Anyways, we're introducing an audio system to record them talking, and I feel like that's going to become very important, not just for the arguments the adults had, but probably something else later. That seems like something we introduced that we could absolutely use to be a part of the mystery later on, or help solve the mystery. If you just have a like an audio system recording something in a room where you think nobody's going to hear you, and then you just I don't know how their audio system works though. They make it look like it's a big like a radio thing, but I don't know if that radio thing is also doing the recording or if something else is doing the recording. But some part of it is doing the recording in the room. So I'm not sure how their audio system works, but I'm just like, okay, so that's going to be important. They try to make it a whole big thing about like detailing the like who was in the room at the time that the envelope with the ring was discovered. Well, us 8 were in here and the rest were in the guest house and they couldn't leave it. So only these kind of people were not in the room, so they couldn't do it. And I'm just like, okay, but what if Cannon just had the envelope in his pocket? Or what if he just had it the whole time and then he was just told to give it to them at some point? What if that happened? I don't know. What else was there? Yeah, so I loved too how when the ring was found and they're reading the note, and the note is like, this is Beatrice, the alchemist. Rudolph and like all of them were like, yeah, of course it's Beatrice, you know, giving the ring to us.
Of course it's her.
Of course it's her, because they're just like, because they're like, okay, we get it, Kraus, we get it, we get it, all right. You don't want to come out and tell us that Dad's dead, okay? But guess what? All right, as long as we know Battler's the heir and we get the gold is what it felt like. It was just like, yeah, good friend Beatrice. We don't want to question that. We're not even going to bother questioning it because we're just like, yeah, because it's obviously
They're
not
so
what's happening.
blinded by the gold at this point. They're just like, gold, gold, gold. Somebody other than Cross getting the gold. Gold.
Yep.
It's like all of them need the money, but also they don't want Cross to be successor. Obviously, Ava least wants him to be the successor, but I imagine all of the siblings, to a certain degree, would, feel a little joy in their hearts to see somebody else take the reins instead.
We just want money. Money.
But they also really just want money.
Me on my own money. Not money towards moon tourism, okay? We're not putting all our... Listen, it's the future. It's the future. You guys don't see the vision, okay?
Listen, you're just a woman. You can't see the future, okay?
True. Now,
I can see reality, though.
Now, there are some things...
I'm a fortune teller the whole time, even though...
There are some things told to us in red. Specifically,
there's quite a few things.
Specifically, things that are like outside of the scope of the current episode and more like seem like overarching things. So, for instance, related to Beatrice, there's red text used. Like, she has no need for whether she has like no stake in whether or not the epitaph gets solved. She gains nothing from it. It's just there though. It needs to be solved, but like she gains nothing from it. Somebody else probably does, but she gains nothing from it is a thing that we're told, which would probably be important in some kind of way. It's probably not very important to somebody who's probably dead. I will say that. Okay, because I mean, we were told Beatrice was deader than a doornail before, right? But then again, we're also told Beatrice is a title that can pass on, so... but the metaphorical Beatrice, I guess, the meta Beatrice, probably also the real Beatrice, I don't know, has no need, like, it doesn't matter whether or not the epitaph is solved to them. Nothing really changes for them. But this is also, like, told to us while she's in her, like, comatose kind of state. So, a lot of it just seemed, and Battler was thinking of the same thing at some point. I just kept thinking, like, is this another episode where she's just putting on an act? And then, like, later on, she's going to be like, now just sign right here on this line that says, witches are real, please. What's wrong, Battler? Why aren't you signing? Like, but I can't imagine them going to do that twice. So this is probably one of those cases where he's going to be like,
no, you fool.
He's got
they're preying on your doubtfulness. No, they wouldn't do it twice. They would never. Okay, so it's like Krauss, okay? I could have skimmed twice. Come on, that would never happen.
Yeah. You know,
you just don't see the vision, Chef.
I never see the vision of the moon tourism. I just never do. Sorry. I'm here in the present. Okay, I look at the fact that our bank accounts say negative 600 million yen, and I'm just like, well, I don't know if we're gonna make it this week, Krauss. And he's like, no, we got it. Just act like Dad's alive. I was like, okay.
Okay, yay.
Okay. Another thing that's pointed out to us, which we'd already noticed prior, was the fact that Battler seems to be one of the last people alive in, like, all of the episodes. Because, like, they don't die immediately. The fact that, Battler lasts at least until, like, the end, and then sometimes he dies. In other cases, we don't know his fate, I think.
Yeah, but he is always one of the last survivors, if not the last.
We are also confirmed that Battler is not the killer, and he has not killed anyone. And that's true in all the games. Yeah. No, this is true in all the games, at least so far, I guess. But this is what we're told in red. That they have not killed anyone yet. So there's still room for him to kill somebody in the later episodes. Okay, there's still room.
Have a little murder as a treat, possibly.
I feel like an episode where Battler's the killer and he just goes around shotgunning family members, especially Rosa. Can we start with Rosa? I think that would be based. Yeah. So I'm here for the Battler Joker arc. I'm here for that.
Yeah, you know, we started laughing when they found the goal. Like, Battler's the murderer this time, isn't he?
What else were we told in red? Frightening you is not the end goal. It is not meant for vengeance against anyone. And Bito is not committing these murders for the purpose of pleasure. I mean, God, I hope not. I mean, unless it's to Rosa.
Kind of woman that
We can kill
people.
Rosa over and over for pleasure. We could do that. I pray on Rosa's downfall every week, you know? I'm just saying.
Damn, okay.
Listen, can you blame me? Can you blame me? Okay. Oh my God, I'm seeing a panel now of a chessboard with pieces falling. Whoa, is that a chess reference? Oh boy.
Chess moment?
And then like it goes to the next day where like Battler's just chilling out with them and it looks like he's about to take a drink and I'm like, oh no. He's about to drink something. And anyways.
9 in shambles.
We get to the was it the next morning? And
after Battler has gone back to sleep in Susan's room after the whole successor debacle.
Yep. Finally gets to go to bed. When he wakes up, he's like, oh, what's going on? And goes to turn on the light and finds out there's like several dead bodies in like the beds in his room, it looked like.
Damn it, Rudolph.
But it seemed like prior to that, there was like meta aspects where it looked like Lambda Delta is like kicking around Beatrice's body. Basically calling her furniture because she's nothing right now. Was she? No, she wasn't calling her furniture. She was saying like her and her furniture are basically like nothing now. And they're just like kicking her around because she's like doing nothing. So they're just like, yeah, we're going to fuck with your game. There's nothing you're going to do about it because you're a little bitch right now. And then Battler's like, hey, let's cut this shit out. And he like kicks down the like fourth wall here. He's like, I'm here to save the day again. I'm going to knock you two out and get us back onto our game. This is our game and you're not wanted. Because the whole time anytime Lambda Delta will say shit, or Burncastle, who's supposed to be on his side, tries to like say anything to him, he's like, shut the fuck up, leave me alone. Like the whole episode. And I was like, all right, based.
I mean, he is supposed to be the guy that's like against witches, so of course he doesn't want to listen to the witches that are around him.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he's just like looking at their crazy like expressions and they're like multiplying as they make new characters of themselves within the story. And it's like, yeah, I'm not dealing with this shit. I'm taking over again. All right, I'm going to save everything and I'm going to bring Beatrice back. This is our game, okay? I'm going to solve it all myself. So let's go to the morning. And then it's like, oh, there's like several dead bodies in my room with a big like crest in it.
What the fuck? I saw little, but you're still dying.
This is where
dun dun dun.
This was Natsuhi's last effort. They're like, oh my God, Battler is gonna be the heir unless we make it look like he killed several family members. That's why he's waking up in a room with dead body. No, I mean that's probably not gonna work with how it's presented. And like they make it again look like it's another one of the ritualistic killings where it's like a big symbol.
That's not actually him.
And it's all in the room that he like woke up in, several dead bodies, probably 6. We only see like, I think 3 beds with blood in them, but there's probably, 6 because of the first night. But we don't know who specifically is dead yet. We just know that they're dead. And I believe we were basically told that Natsuhi was the killer, or at least Erika believes as much. Let me see if I can see who also seemed alive still at that time in the end. So we'll know that they survived that long at least.
Do you want me to tell you?
Well, I mean, if it's known by this point, then yeah.
They do show the faces, and at least in the visual novel at that point. So there is a feature in the VN where called the tip section.
Right, it'll like show you who's currently alive or not, probably.
Yeah, it shows you the status of all of the characters that are known to us, as well as like the meta characters. So it gives you a little bio of each, and then it also tells you like if this character is dead, they'll be grayed out, and then they'll have a red mark on their body wherever they were killed. So like if their neck was slashed, their neck's going to be slashed. If they're just missing, they're just grayed out. But it is known at the very beginning of this episode if you look at it.
Yeah, I see the images. Let me see if I can guess who they are based on the little details we're given here, because like you said, it's not much detail for some of them. I believe
in this art style, it really isn't.
I believe Hideyoshi. Is this Genji? I always get Genji and Goto confused. I'm assuming that's Genji. George, or is that Ken? No, I think that's George. George, probably Maria, Arosa, and maybe. No, that's not Ava. Who are you? Who the fuck are you? Jessica?
You
Jessica,
are
maybe?
right.
Is Jessica?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
Hideyoshi, Genji, George, Jessica, Maria, and Rosa.
Okay. Well, rip to all of them. The killer's Natsuhi. Game solved. On to
Now,
episode
one thing
6.
it does say is that it says 6 people have been killed and their corpses have been discovered, but there's only 5 images here.
Oh, huh.
We actually do know who the 6th person is.
I see 6 images.
Yeah. 6
Right.
people have been killed and their corpses have been discovered, and then there's an extra person that's not shown here. We know who it is in the VN, but they just didn't show it here, I guess. But
Wait, am I dumb? I see 6 people dead.
no, you're right. I just got the numbers mixed up.
Oh.
There's an extra person though that is not shown here
Oh.
because they are missing.
Oh. It was me.
But-
I'm missing from Rokujima. I wasn't there.
So Etika has labeled Dansuhi as the culprit of 6 murders.
Allegedly.
All right, case closed.
Hideyoshi, Genji, George, Jessica, Maria, and Rosa. So her own daughter as well.
I was gonna think to myself if like the deaths would also mirror the episode 1 deaths, but it's already like not correct because George did not die first there. Because George especially, I remembered his whole thing in episode 1 was the whole like despair over losing Shannon after she quietly accepted the proposal by wearing the ring, and then getting even more fucked with by both his parents dying next or whatever. So I remembered him getting fucked with. Essentially, I think most of the people who died here lived longer in episode 1. Like Maria, Jessica, George, they all lasted until like the end or whatever.
In episode 1, specifically, the grandchildren all lived to the very end.
Yep. Well, I think
Not here.
I think shit's fucked. But Battler's still alive, okay? But he's not the killer. We're told he's not the killer. We're told that in red. So he's not the.
I mean, that might have just been Vito's games, you know?
Hey, I was told this is true in all games. Okay, this is true in all games, is what I was told.
Define all games, though.
Listen.
Yeah, but Virgilia, this game hadn't been finished yet, and Virgilia hadn't seen that game.
If you're here to throw misdirection my end, okay, the way to do that is by saying, yeah, but that's Virgilia saying in red. You can't trust anything if it's not Beatrice
like
saying in red.
Listen, Virgilia already had like a team up with Beto to get Battler to agree to that she's a witch, okay? Like, can we really trust her?
Can we trust anyone? Can we trust you, Ari?
Okay.
Can you? I don't know.
Okay, another thing that I noticed. We're told that there's a big dark secret with Kumasawa, which I had assumed there might be some weird thing with when we were like in one of the episodes, she awakened to be Virgilia or whatever in like the fantasy like action fight that happened. But like here,
do you have a screenshot of that?
I don't remember in this one where it happened. But there was something hinted at some point that Kumasawa, there was like more to her than some of them expected. I don't remember where this was though. I think it might have been early on in this. I'm trying to find it because I remembered it was like it seemed like a weird throwaway line, but I was like, huh, that's weirdly ominous.
There are a few weird throwaway lines in Echo. You've already missed several in previous episodes.
God damn.
I didn't miss anything. I just haven't acknowledged them yet. Okay, just like with the Blue Truth, I don't have to address shit until the end. All right. I pick up on all of these things. I just don't talk about them in public. Okay. Don't worry about it. Fuck, where was it? I know I saw this. There's a line about Kurosawa.
Okay, while you look for that,
Yeah.
I want to mention the bit where like Ghost Kinzo's like someone finally solved the goddamn epitaph.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put.
And
I'll
it was
put in the
Battler
spoiler
of all people. I never would have expected it because he's
Yeah.
such a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Everyone
God.
thinks so low of poor Battler.
I mean, he is incompetent by the red text. Okay, it's been proven. Yeah, they're up. I put in spoiler zone. They found it funny.
I will find this eventually. I know it's in. I think it might have been something like when Natsuki and Kraus were talking about how they can get the like servants to like lie for them. Oh, it probably was closer to when they had Kumasawa. Was it Kumasawa pretended to be Kinzo or something like that? It was something related to when they were like on the first annual meeting after Kinzo died. They were trying to pretend like Kinzo heard everything that happened or whatever, and Kumasawa apparently played a part in that, but I forget how exactly. And then they mentioned some line about Kumasawa. I'll find it eventually and I'll post it because I did think it was weird at the time, but I didn't think enough to like screen cap it or whatever. But because I remembered it because I was thinking to myself like, we also had the weird thing where it's like Kumasawa awakened as Virgilia or whatever in that other one, which I was ready to throw away at the time related to that, but now I'm just like, you know, was Kumasawa involved with the secret mansion raising Beatrice or not? Because I mean, one thing that we didn't acknowledge last week or during episode 4, I don't think, or maybe we did, and I don't remember. The guy who takes Anjay to the island on a boat had acknowledged, because he used to be the one to drive to the island, I think, and hadn't gone there since the incident happened. And he was like, it used to be I would go there to bring shipments of goods for them, and for a while I was bringing over some stuff that's specifically only like for like another woman or whatever.
Feminine things.
Yeah, feminine things. And then at one point they told me to they would no longer be needing more of those things. And when I asked why was that, it seemed like the quote unquote worst had happened or something like that, or like something dark seemed to have happened, as in leading us to believe that was Beatrice. Yes, it's leading us to believe that was Beatrice, and then Beatrice died, and therefore they no longer need things because she's no longer there anymore, or something to that effect. Because I remember that detail, and then I remember the detail about Kumasawa. I was like, so does Kumasawa somehow connect it with the secret mansion and like taking care of somebody there? And that was Beatrice, and Beatrice died. I don't know, but I'm thinking about these things with my brain. Okay, my brain is thinking, or trying to. It's trying to chug along and connect some of these fragments, trying to brute force my way like Erica. Okay, I'm figuring it out. Okay,
These are some good ideas.
all I'm just saying is moon tourism. It's the future. Okay, it's
That-
the
Of
future.
course.
Now, if you had started saying that earlier, I would have been. That's great ideas. You're
Yeah.
finally
Yeah.
thinking like Battler. Well, like
Yeah.
Kraus.
Yeah. And now, I did
They're called
also want.
cross-sport.
I did also want to bring up. I understand, Kiria and Rudolph seem perfect for each other, in some kind of ways. Kiria specifically, I was wondering if like I understand she's trying to like, she's smart and is able to do things for like the betterment of like their family, like more smartly, like trying to convince Rudolph that they got to do this thing to convince the siblings or whatever. I was wondering myself if like Kiria was also just trying to like influence all of this chaos to like fuck with the Ushiromiya family in general for some reason. Because I didn't know if like
It's just
some
tired.
ki-
It's just like I want to mess around a bit.
'Cause she
with my
seemed like
husband's
a-
family.
it seemed like a whole like, hey Rudolph, you should really convince your siblings to go after Kraus together. And then like she has an evil smirk on her face, and Rudolph's like, are you telling me to blackmail my brother? It's like, no, I would never. I mean, yes, you should totally do that. As your financial advisor, I would say you definitely need to do that.
Listen, Ava is a planner. Kyrie is a plotter.
Yep. Just flip over the chessboard, okay? And let's just play shogi instead. What's going on here?
Yo, finally a real man's game.
Yeah. I was getting a little annoyed with how many like little trips to talking with Beatrice, Gap, and Ronove that Nazi was doing and all that. Like, I was like, I got it the first time. I was surprised we didn't get a visit from the Sisters of Purgatory in this.
Sorry, we don't need them.
I mean, I didn't know if it was like carrying on the whole like, well, they died in one of the previous episodes later on, so that means they're not here in this one. I'm like, but that was like after the event, so they would still be alive. But I was thinking to myself, like, why aren't they here yet? I thought that they were going to show up.
I wonder why they aren't.
It could be that reasons.
Bunch of bullshit.
I wonder.
It would be important. Anyways. What other details do we need to discuss?
Me doing a little bit of tomfoolery with the screenshot I sent.
You're doing tomfooleries here?
Yeah.
And my chap of all people.
I did that in like
Wait.
3 minutes. It was honestly impressive.
Well, let me put it on the stream.
I mean, it is true. You did say you solved the epitaph.
Finally, my epitaph is solved, and by chap of all people, I did it. It was
Honestly, I gotta say that might be my best one yet.
It was that easy. It was that easy. What can I say? Solve facts and logic.
I guess your name's a little too big.
What, chap? What's wrong with chap?
Yeah. No, I mean like size, like letter size.
Listen, I'm a big guy. Okay, my name has also got to be big.
For 3 minutes, though, honestly, kind of impressive. You couldn't even tell the difference. Did you notice it already? Before I pointed it out?
It's real. It happened. What else do we have here for other screenshots you guys sent in? The moon tourism. Why is there several paragraphs of screenshots about moon tourism? Is that what this is?
It's an integral
Because it's their amazing argument back and forth about moon tourism. And
that's what you said about the whole...
Mr. Sonozaki is a man with a brilliant future ahead of him. There's nothing suspicious about him because the dreams he speaks of anticipate the future. They sound crazy to people who can't see into the future. A woman like you can't see into the future.
Damn.
Yes, a woman like me can't see into the future, but I can see the present right in front of me. I can see a pitiful husband who's been taken in by sly, double-crossing swindlers and still trusts them implicitly even after he's been tricked. I loved it.
Wow. And then Lambda Delta is going to become a voice actor.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, actually. I feel like it'd be interesting. Let's see here. What else do we got here? Oh, when people deny Santa with a sad Beatrice face.
There's also the Peace Me is a little too clever, don't you think?
What's the what?
The Peace Me is too clever.
Oh yeah, scroll up a bit in spoilers.
Oh, I was like looking through new messages.
Okay.
The piece of me is too clever. Okay. This one, I see.
Yeah.
The piece me is too clever, don't you think? Even he's just like, I'm incompetent. I mean, hey, it was said in red, so he must be incompetent.
Look, I stuck with them. I gotta tell you.
You know? Okay. What other memes we got here? Let's see if we got any chat messages to read. We don't really. Poison of Love at some point said hi in YouTube chat. Hello. This was like probably 2 hours ago. Or 1 hour ago. Hello, if you were still here. Hello to you. And then we got nothing in Twitch chat tonight. It's dead over there. Oh, except we got like a couple spam things that happened. Over in Kick, we have, hello, homie. I really enjoyed the little I watched. Smiley face was pretty good and great energy. I would love to share with you some great idea that will help you improve your channel.
Boy.
It's called moon tourism. Yes, it's called moon tourism. He's trying to. Oh, he followed the channel and then he's like, send a Discord request to my name. Yeah, I'm ready for the moon tourism. Let's just do that ban real quick. There you go.
So what crypto do we think Kraus would fall for?
All of them. He has fallen for all of them. This is why we got in this situation.
Yes, but like, what do you think is his like die hard? Like,
okay, I got it.
The rest for scams. The rest for rug pulls.
Safe moon. That's the one.
Yeah, that's correct.
Or
I
what
feel
did
like
Luna?
I feel like
which
he
one
would be.
it
I feel like he'd be a big Wall Street bets guy because he's gonna be
Oh,
like to
you're
the
right.
moon, to the moon.
So wait,
There
tell
is
me.
there is like a popular alignment chart I've seen of like what social medias the Ushinobias use the most, and him and Rudolph were Redditors.
Oh no, it's all
No,
over
no, no,
actually.
no. I got you the best one. GameStop.
Oh no. All right. Let's see here. Is there any other memes we want to bring up, discuss? Actually, we have the afterword. Where's the afterword that I wanted to read? Was it here? Was it here? It's probably like chapter 6 or something, like right before chapter 6. Chapter 6 is on page that, so I can find it. Here it is. Okay, I got it. Let's see here. Episode 5, End of the Golden Witch. A new pawn and 2 witches. Ryukishi07, creator and supervisor. Hello, I'm Ryukishi07. And here we are in episode 5 of Umineko. From this point on, the story will really pick up speed. Up until now, Rokujima has had a limited number of, quote, humans. But through the witch's power, a new pawn has been placed on the game board. Is she a suitable guest for the Ushiromias? What purpose brought her to Rokujima? The mysteries deepen. But you do not have time to rack your brain for the answer. Because this time, the witches will descend from the stands. They will have plenty of ideas for livening up the game, knowing them. The girl named Erika Furudo and the 2 witches were no longer idle observers. The game is prepared. That's right, our newest game has only just begun. Welcome to episode 5 of Umineko When They Cry, End of the Golden Witch. The witches have been awaiting your arrival. Are you ready? It is time for those 2 nightmarish days to repeat. I hope to see you all again in the next volume. And then the bonus meme comics. One of them was what I said before, where it was like Shannon went to go take care of Erica's clothes, and it was like the other side of her jacket had just like tons and tons of chopsticks, like a trench coat, like merchandise dealer.
Hey kid, you want some chopsticks?
The other was, what was it? Kumasawa and Genji looking at Kraus and Natsuki having like their like important moments together, embracing each other in the hallway, when Genji's like, I really have to go tell them something, but they're kind of having a moment there. I don't want to interrupt. And then the other one was Erika obsessing over chopsticks and Kumasawa being, oh, my sweet summer child, here's my freshly lacquered, ultra high class looking chopsticks cooking for cooking, handcrafted. It's like she is the chopstick god over here. Okay, you don't understand anything here. I mean, that's the real secret of Kumasawa. Really, is just how much of a old chopstick expert she is. Nobody else appreciated. And then there was a couple like smaller comics. One was like the phone telling Natsuki, look under the clock, and she's like, is there a popsicle stick that says you lose? The other was like Battler's looking at Beatrice, who's like not saying anything still, but like it looks like she's holding in something, like she's about to like laugh or whatever maybe. And then he's like, what's going on? And then you just see like behind Battler is just run away with a sign that says, tell him a joke. And then he runs away before Battler can see. One was Krause looking at an advertiser for a cosmonaut outfit, like a space suit, and he's like, "Hello, yes, do you deliver to remote islands, please? I'd like to place an order." And Nazi's like, "No, not again." And then I think another one is not Erica, Burn Castle and Lambda Delta looking at back at Battler's comments about marshmallows, girls shitting out marshmallows with syrup or whatever, and they're just like, "That's what the fuck is wrong with you?" I
Yeah,
think
if there's no love, you can't see it.
we don't need to see that. There's a lot of things we don't need to see. And that's one of them. And then there was like a mini like Yuri panel between like Burn Castle and Lambda Delta, shoved in at the very, very end. I did notice in the translation notes, because I pointed this out, you know, before in our chats on the Discord, about how the third of Nox's rules that they listed was just incorrect here. But I guess it's just being a different rule here, because in the translation notes they even say, so number 3, because they list all all of Nox's rules for mystery detective stories in the translation notes too, as like a reference. And they say number 3, no more than one secret room or passage. In the manga, this is presented as no secret rooms or passage. One of the ones of the rules that because I remembered reading about Nox's rules ages ago, so I looked them up again once they were brought up here, and then I remember that discrepancy. I was also just like, okay, I guess it makes sense that we're like changing up some of the rules a bit, because then I remember number 5 of his rules was like, no Chinamen shall be present in the story or something like that. I mean, in context, that was specifically in context a reference to, at the time, some stories would put in very stereotypical Asian characters. And so this was to say, like, don't do that. That's fucked up, or something like that, I think. I think that was how I understood that to be. And so we've reworded that here. Or did not, we didn't apply it at all, but here in the translation notes, they reworded it to be like no lazy racial stereotype as culprit. Because I guess that was what was being done at the time when those rules were established. Because it was like trying to be like, let's not do that, because we don't need stories that's just somebody being racist. We don't need that. What else was there? Oh yeah, some of the other rules. I'll just go over some of them here because they're like all listed. The culprit. Number 1, the culprit must be introduced in the story and not as a direct narrator. Number 2, no supernatural elements, including witches. Get the fuck out. No more than one secret room or passage. In the manga, it's presented as no secret rooms or passage. Number 4, no unknown poisons or tools requiring scientific explanation. Number 5, no lazy racial stereotype as culprit. Number 6, the detective must not solve the case through accident or foresight. Number 7, the detective must not be the culprit. Number 8, the detective must declare every clue found. Number 9, the Watson sidekick must speak honestly to the reader. And number 10, no identical twins unless properly disclosed in the story. So if we end up with any weird twins bullshit later on, it's going to be very upsetting, because they were supposed to declare it to us beforehand. Just saying. That's what it says. That's part of the rules. Can't be bringing that shit up. Anyways, is there any other things that we want to mention about that? How are we feeling, before we wrap this up, how are we feeling about Erica as the new character? Because I like her as the new introduction to this. I might end up hating her depending on how edgy she seems to be getting with some of her stuff, but overall, so far, I think I like her as an introduction, like being introduced to the story to like move things along, but also like still being an antagonist in a way towards Battler specifically. It kind of makes me wonder if, like, you know, because Erica is giving the answers for, or hinting at some of the answers for these things, and then Battler's like finishing them up or whatever with those hints. And it also kind of sounds like Battler being like, oh yeah, I thought about that beforehand. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Yeah. It's like somebody just solving it, being like, yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. Like immediately afterwards, when he just didn't think of anything. But I was thinking, like, is this going to be like a race? Does he have to solve these things before Erica does, or shit's going to be fucked? Does Battler also figure out that Nazi was the killer? Or is he just, or did he just get the gold and now he's just like, all right, I don't care what you guys do anymore. I don't even want the gold, but I found it, so now I don't care what happens anymore. But I mean, now that he's back in the game, once we get caught up on the events that happened, even though it's a little too late by the time Battler comes back into the room when Erica's basically just like, Nazi, you were the killer the whole time. So it's like, is he too late? I don't know. You don't know. Well, I mean, Miko probably knows, but you, the viewer, definitely don't know because you've never experienced Umineko before, right?
Definitely,
Right?
100%.
Right? Listen, I like Erica. I like Erica so far. I feel like they are a very interesting member to the cast, and I like it. I like it. Shadow, how are you feeling about Erica?
He's fine.
Wow, thank you for the insight. Miko,
I don't know what to freaking tell you.
What did you like about Erica? What did you dislike about Erica? What do you remember about Erica?
That's a bit of a good fucking question. Okay, remember the chopsticks bit?
Okay, chopsticks. We got it. All right. We like the chopsticks. Good. That's a good start. That's a good start.
I would say like that. I was more indifferent.
That's fine. That's fine. Shadow, have you solved all the mysteries yet?
No. I first of all, it said that you solved the epitaph, not me. Okay, I don't like these accusations.
I mean, yeah, I already solved it, but I didn't know if you solved it too. I mean,
I don't fucking know. Look, man, I'm just here for fucking memes.
well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
I feel like I should do more of these funny me goofing around with screenshots, but I'm not sure if I should or not.
You're allowed to do whatever you want. I'm not your dad. I won't tell you not to do these things. You're allowed to do them.
I don't know. Are they funny enough that I should keep going with them?
I mean, hey, that's for God and us to decide. I don't know.
And you're God, as established by the start of the stream.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, listen.
Well,
Anything that's referencing me in a positive light is always good, okay?
God
Negative.
fucking damn it.
Okay, I'm just saying. Anything that, like, is like, hey, man, Chaplin's really smart at solving all of Umineko. It's what he's doing all the time. Because obviously I am, okay? Or anything that's like, hey, give him money on twitch.tv. You know, that's also allowed. We're also allowed to make references to that. I'm just saying. Miko, how did you feel about Erica? Why are we doing...
Kind of, I don't know. When I was younger, I liked her. I mainly, I think it's pretty much how I felt about her when I was younger, where her design leaves a bigger impression on me than her character. Like obviously she's already a very defined character, but it's just not to my taste, I guess. I like her design a lot, though. It's a very unique and fun design.
Yeah.
A lot of Ryukishi characters are designed very like that, where it's either you love it or you hate it. Let me post her full body, too.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of little details. Like, my favorite detail is that her stockings are roses.
Okay.
Okay.
I remember.
Terrible.
No, I remember. No, I'm saying okay because I'm waiting to like see it in there. But I remember noticing that too because there was like a panel where like Battler walks in to like the guest people or not the guest people, the like furniture or whatever that works there. And he's like talking to them the next morning, and then you like randomly see someone's foot, and it's got like those stockings or whatever, and then it's like, oh, that's Erica. So I noticed that. So I was like, why am I looking at somebody's feet right now? And that was what I was thinking. And then I was like, oh, that's Erica just lounging around. There you go. There's a full body Erica.
This outfit that she's wearing is specifically an outfit that Jessica owned.
Oh.
It's not really clear. Yeah, it's not really clear if that's just like a pretense that Lambda Delta set up so that Burn Castle could just dress her up however she wanted, and you know that she would have a change of outfit that Burn Castle wanted, or if that really is like Jessica's prior outfits, but they say that it is Jessica's prior outfit that she outgrew.
Yeah.
And it just so happens to fit Erica perfectly.
Whoa.
What a coincidence.
There's a lot of coincidences happening. I was just thinking to myself, like, because I think Nazi even brought this up, where she was like, listen, this Erica person was able to randomly wash up onto the island. How do I know my dead son did not also wash up onto the island somehow? You know, seems like it's pretty easy for it to fucking happen somehow. I was confused at first when they were introducing Erica and we see the first panels of them like walking up to the island. I was like, is she walking on water? I couldn't tell, but it was like coming up from the water. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be some weird like witch thing where it's like, oh, this character's also has these fantasy witch powers and she's just walking on water towards the island. That's what I thought was happening, but then it was like, no, she made it out of that. She was wearing like had a life jacket on, I think. And then she washed up onto the shore and then saw Maria. And it was like, hey, so I'm here now. Can I enter the story now? And then that'll begin.
Can I enter the plot?
Am I allowed to solve everything?
Let me
No,
in.
too bad. I'm solving everything anyways, despite whatever you want. All right. Any last things we want to bring up before we wrap it up for this week? I think we've pretty much covered everything that we want to. So, with that done, we have now officially begun the answers arc. What more answers will we reach? What more answers are there to come? Are there more mysteries to come? Did Natsui actually have a son? Is he actually dead? Is Kinzo... I mean, Kinzo's dead. I don't even know why I brought him up.
Is Kinzo... Well, Kinzo's dead. So.
Allegedly.
What's gonna happen with the gold? What was Battler's sin? Who the fuck is Beatrice? All these and more will hopefully be answered eventually. I don't know when they're going to be answered, but they will be answered eventually. Hopefully, try not to get killed in the upcoming weeks. And tune in next week. By the way, real quick, I'm going to flash this on screen. This is the schedule, the new schedule that I came up with for the Answers arc. You can also see the schedule in the Discord server that we're in. If you go to discord.wolfborg.com, and you can also see it on my Twitter and I believe Blue Sky. So you can check that out on there so that you know what chapters you're supposed to read when we do for what we're going to be discussing in the upcoming weeks. As you can see, there's like, I think 12 weeks of discussions here because there's like 3 weeks per episode that we're going to have to do. So we're going to be here for a bit. Hopefully we'll be done with the series before December or probably at the beginning of December, depending on if we have like a week that we end up having to like move back or something like that. Because there are some of these dates, like we said, which are like, this is Thanksgiving, this is Halloween or whatever. If we end up having to move the time by like an hour back, or if we end up moving it to like the day before or like the day after or some shit like that, we could work that out. But we'll try to keep it as close to these dates as possible without trying to skip a week, because if we do skip a week with this kind of series, it's a whole fucking thing. Okay, so we'll do our best and we'll work through it, but this is roughly the schedule of when we're gonna meet to talk about these things. So just keep these in mind, and keep in mind specifically the chapters if you are reading this on one of your local video stores or wherever you're from, because we're reading it split by the official English omnibus release stuff. So, if for some weird reason, some of the later volumes actually have it split differently in whatever version you're reading it on, we're discussing these specific chapter numbers on these weeks. So, keep that in mind. So, with that, we have officially begun Umineko, When They Cry, The Answers Arc, Episode 5, End of the Golden Witch. And we will see you next week for volumes 3 and 4 discussion on episode 5, which will not be the end. We will not be at the end of the episode yet. We still got another week afterwards, so keep that in mind and keep on thinking. And remember, witches are bullshit. They're not real. Okay? And we'll see you next week. Stay safe, gamers. Goodbye.